Hello Internet, this is I the Roshi, and I'm back on the merry-go-round of Hoyoverse, this time reacting to the Honkai Star Rail Myriad Celestia trailers. This has been a long time coming. A lot of people have been wanting me to watch this, especially after I reacted to the demos, especially for some more context and things. I'm going to watch this, take my time through it. There's probably not going to be many cuts unless if I have to for interruptions or whatever that is, but what you see is what you get. That's just how I do things. And yeah, I hope you enjoy. But also, before we start, keep in mind that this is the official playlist on their YouTube channel. I'm sure some things that you might want me to see could be missing. They might be in other categories, such as the animations in general. I will have a separate video where I watch those. But yeah, you know, just going through the cycle. Next time might be ZZZ. You know, more Genshin Impact stuff. We're gonna get Honkai Impact 3rd things again. Yeah, we're just doing it. Also, for a reminder for those who aren't sure, I have played Honkai Star Rail a little bit. I have played through Belobog. That's not a lot. There's a lot that I don't know. So there's going to be some speculation here and there, probably. We'll see how I feel about that. But yeah, don't be surprised if I get a lot of things wrong, because I will. But I'm still going to share my thoughts and talk about things. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. We're starting with the Jeppella Rebelion, Scene 47. I think this played automatically when I first clicked it, and I heard Kafka, and that's all I got. So we're going to find out. Probably going to be about Kafka.
Kafka.
Yeah.
Stellaron Hunter. How do you plead? The crimes you have committed are beyond pardon, but the Jeppella Brotherhood respects every individual's entitlement to the afterlife. Admit your guilt and embrace your punishment.
I'm listening.
How do the Stellaron Hunters plead to the following accusations? You breached the premises of the Tatooine Universal Auction, manipulated the guests, decimated the artistic treasures under the gaze of a devout audience, inflicted monetary damage amounting to over 860 billion credits, and absconded with the auction item. How do you plead?
Guilty as charged, but not a devout audience.
You infiltrated the cyber prison of Inupis, stole the Sigma Rod to deactivate the firewall, allowing a flood of data demons to enter reality, consequently propelling the world toward a judgment day, all in order to take the meta code. How do you plead?
I love the direction of this.
I admit it, but those data demons deserve a taste of freedom.
You violated the ring world Golconda, disseminated the Philosopher's poison virus across all colonies, causing 46 million inorganic entities to turn into rampant machines, and stole the steel core from Golconda's point of gravitational equilibrium, silencing the entire world. How do you plead?
Oh? Sounds like a page out of the Jeppella Brotherhood's playbook. But sure, we took the thing.
The Trovis disappearance. The Lore 51 Stellaron event, cyber attacks against planet Skrullum, the Pierpoint incursion, and so on. A total of 46 criminal cases. Do you admit that all these malicious incidents were the work of the Stellaron Hunters?
If you ask me, it seems like the Annihilation Gang has their fingers in quite a few of these pies. But I confess, it seems you forgot one though. The Jeppella Rebellion.
You should really stop playing with your food, Kafka.
I know. Next time. This time, it's already too late.
Oh, man. Oh, guys, this is already freaking incredible. Okay, hold on. First, starting with Kafka, man, I said it. I mean, her demo was freaking amazing. Kafka, of course, is a character that I don't want to say that I'm familiar with, but I have of course, if you start Honkai Star Rail, you know at least a little bit about Kafka, seeing her in game and stuff. But oh man, she's such a cool freaking character. I don't know. It's just all right. So before, when I did interrupt, because I had to just get out there right away immediately, was that the direction that they were going in. It's very what am I looking for? It reminded me of something else. I feel like this is something that we have seen before in storytelling, although I can't quite put my finger on it. But where you have the person, you know, and they're going through their judgment or whatever, people are reading off all their crimes, and they're just kind of like, "Yup, next," you know. Oh, like they did that in like Pirates of the Caribbean with Jack Sparrow and stuff, when he's like, you know, on the gallows and they're reading all his crimes, and it's like, "Yo, that was funny," like, you know, like that whole thing. I feel like it's not necessarily Joker-esque, but just because I would compare her to the Joker. If she is, I mean, it's all shades of gray and stuff, but if she were to be evil, then she'd be more of like a neutral and or lawful evil because of the decisions she makes and how she wants to. I mean, well, Joker is chaotic, but it's just like the idea of sitting there, hearing all the things that you did that are considered horrible to a lot of people, and just being cool with it. It's just a very badass feel that they gave this character, where it's just like, I just do what I want, and like, oh, just kind of comedically in her dry sense of humor way, so on and so forth. I honestly believing what she's saying, probably, most likely, right? She'd have to be if she went through the actions of just not necessarily making excuses, but just like, yeah, well, I mean, it's better off this way, or this reason, whatever. And it's not like she's being like, oh, but please, I was trying to do the good thing. She's like, no, I just thought this result would be better, so I did it. Like, you know, no regrets. I love that vibe that she carries. And also, okay, so now the other thing that I want to talk about before I forget is the music. I just kind of love how it is throughout the whole thing. You know, you got that it's very classical, right? Hold on.
Cyber prison of Enigmas,
yeah,
stole the Sigma rod to deactivate the firewall.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you hear those you just hear those classical instruments, right? Especially the strings, and like, we know she's associated with the violin and stuff, and it just violin is my favorite instrument. Piano too is great, but something about that. Anyway, but I love how it's just that gradual, like, dun 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 throughout the whole thing, and then you get to that point where it drops, and it gets just more impactful with everything when the big reveal, like, oh, but the rebellion that I freaking did, you didn't catch that, did you? Well, now you did. Okay, now the thing that I actually have any knowledge about is the art style in this. Whew! If this is what these are going to look like going through, I am so on board. Although there wasn't a lot of movement, it felt very much like a comic book, but there's like this grim feel to it. Not even a lot of colors, but they're using the colors very powerfully here. There's a lot of dark and warm tones, right? For the most part, like, you have the red sky, you have the gray and black, like, inside of the facility that they're in, and then the characters and like the background too, but they blur the background so the characters are crisp and they pop in the forefront, but they do it in a way that is also very comic book like. There are imperfections on purpose where you can see some of the sketch lines, but it's a very cell shaded, I want to say, I could be missing the correct term here, but I want to say block art. A lot of high contrast with these dark shadows, just making them straight up black, just using black for part of their silhouette, and then you have their colors pop, and it's all very cell shaded looking with just the hard shadows and the hard light, right? And like look, you have just straight up black on their suits. Like, this is a white collar, but for shading on it, yeah, there's some gradient, but then just black, right? It just goes over the edge, just all the way there. And same thing with the highlights, where there's that gradient and then it's just white because of the light shining on them. And yeah, there's a little bit of a glow, a little bit of a hue. There's the bloom that's, tweaked just a little bit to have that glow effect, but it works really well, and it doesn't feel like it's overstaying its welcome. It's just, the style of this is just so freaking well done. I love how it looks. And I love how, these guys, they're in charge of the situation, right? They look imposing. They've got the glowing orange eyes. And then she talks about the rebellion, and it's like, oh, that goes away. We're like, huh? Caught off guard now. We're no longer big, badass, scary guys. Like, oh, what's happening? It's like they lose their power the moment there's that rebellion coming up, being that she tells them about, whatever that is. They just, visually, you see them lose their power in an instant. And it's so good. Anyway, sorry. If people don't like this kind of rambling, you're watching the wrong video, buddy. Anyway, but because this is a thing that I do. I don't know if I'm going to go over all these same topics again, because I'm not sure if all these have the same kind of style. I'll try not to repeat myself, but when I really like something, I'm going to gush about it. So that's what that is. Phenomenal first trailer that we watched. Like, this looks like a poster. Like, I feel like I've seen this before, right. Like, it has that, oh man, like the block art, like it has that very propaganda, poster feel. Like join the army kind of thing. Kind of, it's just that it has that look. There is so much that's good with this. All right. We're going to move on to, the next. You have your other characters here too. Okay, yeah, just we gotta go. We gotta move on. Oh, fantastic start though. Okay. Yeah.
Let's make an exchange, shall we? An exchange of memories. I dreamed of a ray of light, of a crystal chalice. The light that shone from that crystal spoke to me. Listen to the parable of the stars. The nameless one, the pathless one, arrived from the edge of the wilderness, clad in stellar radiance. Go now, march unwaveringly into solar wind. At the end, you will return to my embrace, but march towards the light. Yet that light began to burn, piercing through the clouds as a golden death. Towers crumbled, and the people fled, for the sun was soon to set and meet with vicious destruction. But be not dismayed, O child of the world. The Luck's arrow will descend to purge the wicked abominations. You must follow the traces left behind in the storm's wake. The Celestial One guards their secrets, plotting out the routes that connect all things. But they are silent, like a shroud of mist at the center of the universe. Listen to the silence, and you will know where the stars are resting. Let your staff strike the earth, they say. Once and again. The tender sprouts will grow to the sky, and the dew that falls from their branches will rid you of sickness and poison. Blindfold your eyes, they say, that the approaching darkness may strike no fear in you. Let it not burden your soul, nor numb your stride. Push open the majestic gates, they say, and lift up the tablets of lapis. Read them aloud. Let the fire that forged the bricks and the ones that laid the walls' foundations be known. Then they say, "Oh, you who have reached the end, enter into the paradise that envelops all. Join this great choir and feast. Listen to the beating of billions upon billions of hearts, holding you in their embrace." Look upon the courtesan's extravagance, the mariner's intemperance. Listen to the infant in the mirror, the waves as they enter the dream, the tipping of the balance, the shapeless prince, and finally, measure the world against yourself, and take all such things to heart. This is the path you should walk, they say. Machiavelli, depart once more. Machiavelli. Countless shooting stars streak the sky tonight. Should you choose the right one, it will carry your wish to thousands of distant worlds.
Okay. All right. Wow. Jesus. Okay. So we're just gonna... Okay, that's fine. These are just gonna be incredible. All right. So I love that. And it simultaneously made me feel really stupid. I don't know. Just because I'm like, there is so much lore here. There is so much deep lore here for this universe and beyond, probably into their multiverse and all that shit. But and of course, I'm not catching it, right? At least not entirely. Not as much as a lot of other people who have been playing the game are. I'm sure those who are caught up in the game right now and are possibly watching me react to this video are maybe hearing and seeing things that make a lot more sense if they haven't seen this then. But I don't know. That's just a guess. This was really, really freaking cool. I love storytelling and I love lore stuff and like how things came to be. And here they're definitely talking about the different elements, for lack of a better word. You know, you have your character, they're the hunt, they're the erudition, whatever it's called, like, you know, like the different things. And that there are gods associated with these things. And the very first one that they were talking about showed like blonde with braids, and is that the one of the more recent guys? Is that him or is that someone else? They just look similar. Maybe I'm just grouping up all blonde characters together. Maybe I'm just doing that. Maybe I shouldn't do that. I don't know. Anyway, although this was, it says part 1 about the stars, part 1. Oh boy, there's going to be more. There's going to be more, which is good. Fables about the stars. What I do like a lot is how it is this character speaking to us about this. Because she is very fortune teller vibes with the cards, and I forget, was her name Black Swan? Is that, I could be messing that up. I think it's Black Swan. Very cool character, especially design wise as well. I don't really know her personally in the game or anything like that. I haven't interacted with her, but still, I just remember when she was a thing that people in the Genshin community were losing their shit trying to like say that she was the Welkin Moon because she had a hood. Yeah. Anyway, oh, and the thing on her neck. Anyway, that's how I recognize this character at all, because that's when I first found out about her. Not saying I agree with that theory at all, but I do like the fortune telling vibe. I do like the star reading, and her just giving you this very relaxed dump of information, and it's just, man, I wish I knew more about the gods. I honestly, probably the only one that I know the most about is Aha, just because I remember that being a thing in a quest I played. I'm not sure which one, but I remember his name coming up a lot. Anyway, yeah, I don't really have much else to say about it because of my ignorance, so I hope you forgive me about that. But I love, once again, the style that we had through this. A lot of still images, which is fine, but the way how it went from one to the next, it fit the theme very much for this, telling a story, seeing these images, and so on. And great opening to that there. And also before that, we have, this is beautiful. It's, hold on.
Light that shone from that crystal
like,
spoke.
This is going to sound really dumb, but it's a painting that's moving, and like, duh, that's animation. Like, no shit, I get that, but it's not every day. I feel like when you see a picture, an image that looks like it was painted by hand, but it's moving. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not something that you normally see. Like, how wild would it be if you were just in a museum and you saw this hung up on the wall, and then...
To me. Listen to the parable of the star.
I don't know. That looks cool to me. It's not that mind-blowing, but for some reason, I just had this crazy... I don't know, my imagination just kind of went wild with that. And, like, this is just... this swirl into this galaxy with all these asteroids and planets and, like, shattered moons and what, like, great stuff. Good stuff. Really enjoyed it. All right. Let's move on to the next.
I regret to admit it, but the Xianzhou have very few legends. For what room is there to create legends among those who do not die? But there is one distant legend that can still be recounted. The story of the Cloud Knight Generals. It began 8,000 years ago, when the Emperor of an ancient kingdom yearned for both legacy and immortality. He sent our Xianzhou ancestors into the astral seas. And through the boundless stellar reaches sailed, great ships in isolation softly veiled. After voyaging 2,000 years, the ships discovered traces of the divine. The plague's author revealed themselves and offered an immeasurable lifespan. But the blessing was a curse. Those who exceeded their lifespan became the deathless doom. And thus the Alliance's long and peaceful years were lost in sickness, treachery, blood, and tears. At the very precipice of the Xianzhou's existence, the Rainbow Arbiter descended and redeemed the crumbling Alliance. For the next 5,000 years, the Alliance voyaged the vast cosmos, purifying the universe under divine mandate. Heading the 6 ships were the vanguards of the hunt, the 7 Arbiter-Generals. Behold at the Marshal's side, 6 generals of renown. Fierce and swift is Fyxestroll, the Merlin's Claw. Strong and righteous is Huayan, the Flaming Heart. Cautious and sophisticated is Yao Guang, the Seer's Strategist. Mighty and powerful is Xuan Quan, the Sage Queller. Mysterious and fair is Yo Wu, the Patina Justice. Wise and brave is Jing Yuan, the Divine Foresight. The 7 Arbiter-Generals wield extraordinary powers. Intelligent and visionary Jing Yuan of the Law Fu is admired by friends and feared by foes. With skillful sleight of hand, the trap was set. The Borsons soon, with crushing loss, were met.
An army must be of one heart and mind, where skillful sleight of hand is little use. The Cloud Knights entrusted their lives to me. I shall not fail them.
Glory to the Xianzhou! Glory to the Cloud Knights! Glory to the Xianzhou! Glory to the Cloud Knights! The hunt is with us!
Quite the story, Master Gongshu.
Okay. So that was about, or just giving a little background to Jing Yuan. Okay. Yeah, history of the Xianzhou. 7 Arbiter-Generals. Man, there's lots of lore stuff, which is good. I expect that's what these are for. Yeah. I mean, looking at the demo, you can get a hint of this guy's personality and stuff. And this definitely tells you how he was or is a part of something much bigger. And a general is usually a pretty big deal. But this definitely brings it up onto a whole another level. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Now, I will say, what do I want to talk about this visually, of course. Okay. So, of course, I'm probably going to butcher some terminology here, so forgive me. I like how the scenes between the different figures switches between a different kind of monochrome, where you have mostly just, maybe that's not the right word, but like you know, one is blues, another is yellows, one's red, purples, for the most part. But there are some differences here. Like there is yellow here, right? And that's not red. They usually have some kind of like glow or hue to them as well. Like this is more of like a blue and a green. You get both. Well, this is like a blue and like a purple, like, you know, but they stick to their gradient, right? Without much of things, other things kind of like taking you out of it. It's just very stylistically pleasing, and it feels very like almost paper cutouts with the silhouettes. Like everything just seems very flat, like it is paper on paper. But then they give it a third dimension by giving you this idea of depth, right? Which is very nice. Here's an example of, like, this is purples, but there are yellows in this too, like the lights on the houses and the light coming through above the tree and it glittering and stuff, sparkling. And that's really good because purple and yellow just they make each other pop, right? You could just tell how intended these choices were made. It's not just like, oh, let's make this guy red because we feel red for him. Like, sure, there is that, but there's more to that. There are other reasons to make it stand out in that way. And then you got this gold when you get to Jingyuan. And here it's more of a muted version of that, right? And there's a lot of detail here too. Okay. Yeah, that's I can't really talk much about story stuff here. I feel like it just, obviously it just told you a little bit about what exactly he is. And I'm about it. All right, let's move on to the next one, which is
I have traversed great lengths seeking a piece of history. The history of long the permanence.
I too know little of the progenitor of all dragons.
Whoa.
Before the dawn of history, long traversed the burgeoning chaos, seeking the answer to existence. And on that path, the revelation of the permanence was unraveled. Then came our emergence, us, long scions.
I visited Liaris, a world encircled by 5 suns. The giant dragon sat overseeing the turning of day and night, the change of seasons, sheltering the lives within. Could the revelation of the permanence signify the timeless nature of one's greatness?
The relentless pursuit of individual immortality will only breed an unending multitude of malevolent creatures. Such is the fallacy of the plague's author.
So then does the permanence represent the continuance of bloodline? I also journeyed to the ancestral home of the Infernalian people, in the land of white embers. The undead dragon Typhon's breath showered flames on the land below, bringing forth a flourishing lineage.
Long scions are dispersed throughout countless worlds, living in solitude. In the vastness of the universe, the rise and fall of one race is of little consequence.
It is said that the Vidyadhara formed an alliance with the Xianzhou, and that 5 elders descended upon the mortal realm to keep watch over the plague moths. Perhaps the permanence is the noble ambition that ensures the safety of the universe.
Alas, Imbibitor Lunae forsook his oath, causing a state of great disorder. The High Elders too bear mortal frailties, their heavy burdens ultimately becoming the shackles which bind them.
From your perspective, what does the permanence's revelation truly signify?
As the sun and moon rise and fall, the world undergoes continuous change. So the concept of stability is meaningless. Only by comprehending and aligning with the way of the world can one's path lead to everlasting existence. Countless new creations emerge when one dragon meets its end among the morning stars. For the Vidyadhara, this is the true teaching of the permanence. Within the cycle of life, any endpoint may mark the inception of a new journey. And for him, it is no different.
Okay. Dragons. All right. Okay. Oh, fuck. Yeah, I saw that. Anyway, so there's boy, how do I okay. I like dragons. Next video. No, I'm kidding. So what I want to say about this is that this style is so good. Oh my god. They are really just hitting the mark with the feel for all of these. Obviously they're supposed to, right? It's like, why are you impressed? Of course it's supposed to look this way, or it's supposed to be this way with this feel, with these characters, and blah blah blah. It's just I gotta talk about it though. We're getting to these dragons, and for the most part, except for this guy here, there's a lot of that, like, that Chinese dragon inspiration, the long boys, right? And it's done in that very, very ink style. Just like, I don't know, it's simultaneously very elegant, but there's that roughness to it, and it's borderline like watercolor too in some cases, but it's just brushstrokes. Like, the brushstrokes are just insane, and how it moved. Oh, man. Like, there's like the eye, like, it's such a close up, but they're still not afraid of show the I'm losing my train of thought. God damn it. It's the fact that it looks so raw, that, of course, this is a very polished trailer for what it's trying to show, but how the style itself isn't polished. It's very true to its inks and paints and that feel to it. Like you're watching an actual I don't know what to say. It's like as if you were holding a scroll looking at these images, but that scroll itself was animated. I don't know how to really describe that, but just how everything moved. Like, look at this.
Like months. Perhaps the permanent system.
Like, and then it kind of just fades and takes shape into the image that would be on the page that has that part of the story on it and stuff. Like, it's just very fluid, very raw feeling, and looks like it had just been just a picture from some ancient script or document, whatever you want to call it, from forever ago or whatever. Like, that's how old the story is, and there's just something really, really cool about that. And then, of course, there are some other effects thrown in there, like you have the fire here, and with the big guy, you have this effect within his chest. So everything else is very, very messy, very ink, very, very paint-like, but you have the smoke, and then you have this bright, glowing, electrifying heart within his rib cage, and there's just so many cool things about this. I loved seeing all these other dragons here. Now, I could spend time actually looking at each one, their title, and reading their description. But I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to look at that, and I'm not even going to know what to comment on those. Other than that, I love how they have that information here for you to do it. how each of these dragons have their different kind of job involving nature itself, cycle of life, and all that stuff. I'm just so appreciative of this very grade monotone environment with just hints of color, like the little bit of red, like the red on the plant here with a little shading on it here and there. Like everything is just very, very muted, except some things pop. Like the character, very muted, but still pops compared to everything else. And you even see some of that green like around him in the water as well. Okay. Whew. And then when we look at the character, you have the chains, you have the background, you have the rocks, the plants, whatever, and the rough ink lines, and there is a more everything around them is blurred. There's a slight blur to everything except for the character, which makes their more crisp, still rough, like still very like hand painted, hand. It's not calligraphy, but you know what I mean, like that style of a character with like the more solid lines to make them pop on screen big time. No, okay. That's I feel like I stalled enough and had trouble getting my words out, but I think you at least know the feel that I'm trying to express that I got from this. Love it. All right, moving on.
Traveling with you has stirred up my curiosity. What drove you to pick up the sword at such a young age?
Well, I suppose there's no harm in telling you. At first, it was the General's stories about the previous sword champion. He told me about her unparalleled skills, her unmatched prowess with a single blade. It inspired me that one day I could earn the title myself.
So, it was the allure of renown?
I also wanted to live up to the General's expectations and repay him for the gift of his teachings. Where would I be without him?
Then you wish to forge deeper ties.
It's more than that. One day, I'll run into battle alongside my Cloud Knight comrades, defending the Lawfu and striking down those who threaten us, putting my abilities to their rightful use.
In the end, it all comes back to fealty.
What's with all the questions, miss? Why did you choose the path of the sword?
I too was once shackled by fame and fortune, impeded by bonds and loyalty. But in the end, the sword moves beyond such notions. For the sword is just a sword, an instrument determining life and death. Nothing can tarnish its essence. Only when you've walked the fiery trail and cut through every impediment can you understand the purpose behind every swing of your sword.
Ooh.
Do you understand now, future sword champion? I wield the sword to vanquish my enemies. Nothing more. And now, our battle begins.
Okay. Didn't think she's gonna fight the guy, but there we go. First off, I know that I am watching these in English, right? Oh, I should probably put closed captions on just in case. I should do that. Sorry, I have not been doing that. Whoops. But yeah, I've been watching these in English, and I know there's quite a few people out there that prefer other languages to play these games in, which is fine. You do you. But I'm going to be watching these in English because when I played the game, it was also in English. Nothing against anything else, but as far as those, not everybody, but as far as those who like to pop into comment sections and say you should listen to this version because your preferred English version is trash. I just, a quick message to those elitists, get bent, I don't care. These performances so far have been fantastic. Freaking Amelie here is just annihilating this character, or crushing with this character, whatever you want to call it. Same thing before with Jing Yuan and what's it? That's his VTuber is Sayu. You know what I mean? Like there's some good voices here, and you can definitely hear this character's intrigue, but then also as it gets further on and on, like there's a pain inside of this person. There is something that they are trying to hold back, it sounds like. And I don't know the full context, of course, but I'm getting real strong vibes of a tortured soul speaking to someone, trying to give them a clue about like their decisions. You know, that's just kind of the feeling I get there. Now, I don't want to get too much into the art again because I know it's just a lot of repetition at this point that with this, because I'm going to be talking, it's like the ink, and then we got like, you know, the dark silhouettes and stuff. But this transition here, this scene, freaking, I think I said something. I don't know. I think I made a noise when I saw this. Hold on. I want to see this part one more time, because you have her standing up here and just like the red, and like, just look at that. Look at all of this. Just how simultaneously purposefully messy it is, but how good it looks because of how fluid it is. And like
of your sword.
That movement, and then the boom, you got like this, almost like this red moon reflecting on the ice, showing her silhouette again, like, you know, inverted, and then it just spreads. Oh, I hit the mic. Sorry about that. And you got like the fires of freaking hell right there. Like, what is happening? That is so freaking cool. And then we got our guy here who is he's like, oh, you have some things to work out. That's what they're thinking. They're in trouble. But oh man, the layering here, and how like it looks like these have actual texture to them, but there's the between the foreground, midground, background, and the light that shines through and like kind of just bounces off everything, and it just gives that really cool depth to it. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next one. This was awesome. I guess I'll say one more thing, because I didn't specifically say that before, I don't think. So I talked about like the ink lines, the inky style that they have here that looks like it's just kind of like calligraphy and stuff. The traditional pens being used, and how it flows, like the character's hair, for example. Like, I was staring in this corner during this moment. Like, you just have
nothing more.
And about that is that the line art is in constant motion and the hair is waving back and forth. And that motion is very very smooth, very tween. It's like they just, you know, they took the image in layers and they just kind of tweened parts of it. Very VTuber like, you know, they have that program where they do stuff, and it was probably done in that program as well. I just like calling it tweening or in-betweening because there's like I don't know, there's I suppose the program that VTubers use in general have something very similar to that. If you are familiar with Adobe Flash, when that was a thing, there was a thing called tweening, where, well, there's in-betweeners where people who would draw specific images between keyframes, right? Keyframes are the most important shots, and then you'd have the in-betweeners fill in the blanks, and that would show kind of like the motion between one keyframe into the next keyframe, right? If you took out the in-betweens, you're looking at a slideshow or like a comic book at that point in time, or might as well be. It's more static. It's not as fluid. When you look at an animatic, if you know what an animatic is, I'm sure plenty of you have seen animatics. You know, you don't show, if the character is waving and then they go to shake a hand or something, in the animatic they're going to show the wave and then they're going to show the motion of shaking that, like, of going to shake the hand, or maybe the important animation of them actually shaking the hand after the wave, but they don't show the hand leave from here and go down here. That's the in-betweener's job. The in-betweener is the one that animates that motion of that hand going from one position into the next with the body turning, right? The very subtle things. However, with this in Adobe Flash, you could do what I just described, or you could, I think it was just called tweening. You could just tween, where you're like, okay, this keyframe, connect to this keyframe, move it. Just do it automatically. And it just kind of looks a little weird, and it'll just sort of warp the image a bit. And they were obviously doing something similar here with something else, because Adobe Flash I don't think is a thing. If it is, it's probably named something else. It's been a really long time. I thought it is. I think it's gone. But anyway, the technology still exists, obviously. But they're doing that with the hair here. It's just a still image, and they're just kind of bending it where they want it to go, and they have that on a loop. And Genshin Impact stuff, they're oh my god, I'm drawing a blank. You know, a lot of their trailers for characters, they do that. They do the same thing, and it's actually, it started off very stiff if you go back and watch some of the earlier ones, to now it's definitely more fluid, and they're definitely taking more time to polish that and not make it as obvious that they're just dealing with still images. They are actually adding more images to their thing, and the tween looks even better because they are broken up a bit. But it has that smooth effect still. Okay, I think that's what I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to express that I noticed that kind of animation that they were doing, and I think it's cool how they used it in a way, but they still had like the ink lines move and all that stuff. Like it was very unique looking here. It was done in a way that I haven't quite seen before, because it wasn't just the bending, but there were other elements a part of that were also moving at the same time. And that's what I really appreciate. There's a lot that goes into these. Okay, next one. Man, anyone who's watching this is like, dude, I did not want art lectures. Well, sorry. I used to be an animation teacher, so bite me. I'm gonna talk about it. It's what I know.
Hey there, you! Yes, you!
Me?
For you, the gem filled with endless potential.
Oh.
Hold on to your hats. The IPC's gem identification system will ensure that each and every talent you possess will be harnessed for intergalactic peace.
Ha!
You have the thrill of adventure coursing through your veins? If so, our marketing development department is rolling out the red carpet just for you.
Joke's on
With
you,
the
I don't
names
have
of
any talent.
Waldo Schneider leading the way, a vast number of new worlds will soon be a part of our expansive credit system. If you're someone who values structure and logic, our business consolidation department offers the perfect stage for you to shine. With products twinkling like a million stars, this department has created a spectacular trade network that's measured in light years. Heard of hyper-distant delivery systems and synesthesia beacons? What was once science fiction is now reality. Proudly produced by the IPC. Got an idea that's nothing short of genius? Look no further. Our technology department is waiting for you. Join us and team up with the Intelligentsia Guild. When the glitters of fortune and title dim before the luminous path of the Amber Lord, know that the building material logistics department is the sanctuary for the most ardent of followers. Become the cornerstone of our operations. Every stone you place with precision plays a pivotal role. Grit will form the backbone of our formidable subspace barrier. If you're someone whose qualities go beyond the ordinary, unyielding in the harshest of storms, this message is for you. At the Strategic Investment Department, talent is the most precious investment of all. Origin, background, irrelevant. Diamond seeks out the unique and the extraordinary. Those who sit at the table will determine where the wealth pours. The Talent Motivation Department isn't just another division. It's a shining beacon of empowerment. Top talent deserves top perks, and that's why the Talent Motivation Department was established. Every task you undertake serves as the pioneering spark that sets Pierpoint's passion ablaze. For those seasoned in their craft and still holding on to cherished dreams, our operations are as everlasting as the sway of ocean tides along the shore. Witness the traditional project department's great supervisor, Arita, ready to capture the treasures the tide unveils. Take the leap, join our ranks, and climb to unparalleled heights. Shape the destinies of myriad worlds, and make the history of the galaxy your very own footnote. The mighty hammer of the Amber Lord has struck. A realm of endless opportunities beckons. We're waiting for you.
Okay. Interastral's Peace Tour. Selection, planning, and opportunity. We just saw a freaking commercial. I have some things to say about this. For one, this is definitely, I think, more block art. Man, I'm gonna have to. I'm actually gonna look it up to make sure that I'm saying the right freaking thing. I might not be. I keep wanting to say block art, and I'm only saying that because of like the deep hard shadows, right? Block art. Give me an example. Give me an example. I don't think that's what I. That's not what. No, I'm seeing a different thing. I'm not sure if that's what it is. Maybe I should stop saying block art. Well, regardless, they have that very high contrast with the shadows, is what I'm trying to say. That are very, man, like everything looks like a poster, right? And on top of that, now we have like, you know, we got like humanoid Porygon here. He's got like, we got the polygons. And just to, it reminds me in when I was in art school, taking like still life drawing or you know, drawing models and stuff. You have to kind of map out the shapes you're using, and especially if you're focusing on the face or like doing a self-portrait even, sometimes it's easy to break that face down into the shapes that you see that form like the chin and the cheekbones and the eye sockets and stuff, and then just sort of flesh things out a little more as you go and erase those lines. So this looks kind of like a step in between that, but it's on purpose, obviously, for what they're doing here, how they want to show all of this, and it's very cool. It has like this futuristic feel to it, and compared to the other things that we've seen, there is more, for a lack of a better word, more realism here. Like, this does not look very anime inspired to me. Not with how the face structure is. This is more realism than anything else, even though we're dealing with just like diamonds, triangles, and other shapes to map out the structure of said face. And it's, like just I look at this stuff and I'm just looking at the shapes being used. This is a bunch of triangles and circles, and then some textures thrown on. That's all this is. And you could say that about a lot of art, at least how it starts and then where you end up going with it. So I really do like this, this in between that we have that isn't heavy on the line art, but it's still showing that difference in gradients and the colors to pop out. Now, as far as other things, to just talk about this in general, I thought I wasn't expecting to get a commercial in this for something within game. And I'm sure it's very relevant for what you are doing at the time, I imagine, or for a character, possibly, even though we didn't really see a character, at least not one that I spotted. But I'm sure a lot of people who are watching this are just kind of like, oh, it's associated with this person. Like, that's cool. But yeah, like here, this is a perfect example where you have all the shapes and then the hard shadows. And what's so cool about that is how much of something you can actually show with just using black and a little bit of lighting to actually form the right shape, object, character that you want. Silhouettes are super important. If you are ever designing a character, for anyone who is getting into art stuff, or you like to draw, or you want to draw, but you don't know like what makes a good character, what makes an interesting character, think about it like this. If you have a character that you're working on and you put them in a pose, like you draw them, whatever you want. Now imagine if you just made them a silhouette. If you just turned it all black, right? Does that silhouette look interesting? If it's not interesting, your character might be on the more boring side. I'm just saying, in general. Like, it's just, it doesn't always have to be that way, but if you want something to be interesting for others, for people to have, it's just, the more interesting a silhouette, potentially the more, invested you could be into that character upon seeing them for the very first time. Of course, there's exceptions where you could see a silhouette and it could be very basic and plain, but you might know who that character is because it's just, maybe it's something you're familiar with, or it's something that you saw, or maybe it's something that doesn't really affect you and you're into other things instead. Like, I'm just trying to think. Like, for example, if we took an image of Saitama from One Punch Man, just standing normally, sometimes, as he does, just arms by his side, just standing there, 3/4 view. He's got the cape, bald head, gloves, boots, whatever, but it's all black, and there's no dynamic pose or anything like that. He's just standing there like he's just got back from carrying groceries or whatever. You look at that silhouette and you're like, that's boring as fuck. But you go and watch the show and it's like, there's something interesting about it. You know what I mean? Like, there's other things that would pull you in. And then there are plenty of other characters in that show that would have insane silhouettes. And then there's that difference between like, oh, we have this, but then we have everything around him that's freaking crazy. but then his ability is crazy. So it kind of, you know, there's a balance there. So that's just one example of why I think silhouettes are important. Not that we ever get like, well, we got some silhouettes in this, but just how just solid black with things still manage to show a shape can convey a character and their stance or how interesting they could be. Sorry, that was a tangent and it wasn't fully related to this. It just got me thinking of that. And I like sharing my little wisdom that I do have. The last thing I'll say about this before we move on is that the voice actor who narrated this whole commercial, I imagine that they had so much fun doing this. I know, like, commercials and stuff, they're like, you want to skip them, you know, like, you know, I do my own ads for my own videos about the stuff that I have, and a lot of people skip those, obviously. But at the same time, funny enough, there's some of the fun moments I have in my videos because there's just something about making yourself just go all in with the shilling, with that energy, to just, I don't know, there's something about it. So I can see why people would want to, or the people who enjoy the reactors that do go crazy and over the top and are just like, wow, always presenter like and stuff. It's why you'd have a freaking, I mean, I don't really watch them, especially not now, but like, you know, there's Mr. Beast, you know, and other YouTubers like him that are just kind of like, today I'm going to do the thing and they're going to win $1 million. And it's like, whoa. And it sounds very like you're on a game show. This is you're on a stage, you're being this big over the top personality. That is something that I like to do sparingly because I think it's more, it means more the less you do it, because when you do see it, it's kind of like, whoa, this is a thing, right? And by what I mean by I do that at all sparingly is like when I do my ads or whatever, or if there is going to be a skit or a bit about something, then I might go over the top. When it comes to these reactions, I don't do that because I am not a person who can have that level of energy throughout 2 hours of stuff. And yeah, I'm not going to do that because it's just, I just like, if you're doing it for the sake of making a show, for making a presentation, then sure, you want to be a little bigger than life itself, right, to get people's attention. But when you are doing a thing, in my opinion, when it involves genuine feelings and sharing knowledge and opinions, then that should be as genuine as possible. And that's what I try to do. So if I'm watching this and you ever actually see me raise an eyebrow or go, what the fuck? Like that's real. I'm not like, you know, if you want to jump out of your seat and scream and do a backflip, like, yeah, that's entertaining as fuck. But depending on what you're doing, it's either you're just giving yourself 50% more of the personality that you have for everyone to see to be entertained, either because of what it is you're doing, or it's fake. I mean, it's fake regardless, but it's just, yeah. Because people aren't really like that. Like, yeah, there are excitable people out there, but for the amount of times I think you see it online, there's no way that could be genuine. But they know what people like, and that's why they do it, and that's fine. Anyway, my point is, to get to do that for a project like this, where it's obvious you have to be this very confident sounding guy, that's the role you're playing, to present this idea, this thing, to try to sell something that can be fun. So I just imagine that this voice actor had a blast going through this, just to be like, you know, we have what you're looking for right here. Like, you know, like it's just, there's something fun about that. That was a tangent and 3/4. Let's move on to the next thing.
When the Xianzhou people roamed the galaxy, they inevitably meet strange beings. So lots of spooky stories start with these encounters. On one such occasion, a new Ten Lords Commission judge received a decree ordering her to subdue a demon.
Excuse me?
You won.
Where are your manners? Huh? A compass? It can't be. You, the new one.
Oh, Jesus.
Careful. Are you okay? Let me help you up.
Knock, knock. The door isn't gonna hold much longer. Knock, knock. The door's coming down. You asked for a spooky tale to grow some guts, didn't you? This is what you faced on your first day! Why are you shaking in your boots?
That's enough courage training for today.
Where do you think you're going? It ain't over yet.
Okay. Yep. Okay. An exorcism at Fyxestroll Garden? That's what that was. This was probably the most, and I shouldn't have to compare, but I am, because it's all Hoyoverse at the end of the day anyway. This was the most Genshin like teaser so far, style wise. Like how it's style, how the characters moved, etc. And that's you know, that's not a bad thing. It's just, it feels like this is what I've come to know with other Hoyo stuff. But I definitely did like it. There's a lot of cute moments here. They had a lot of visual gags, which is funny. I like this. Let's see. Can I get to it? Yeah. Oh, I'm covering it right now. Let's see. Yeah, this where, I mean, once it feels like a cutout, just and falling down at the big scaredy eyes that they have on her. And then of course, you know, this is a great image. This might be one of my more favorite images in this Myriad Celestia trailer that I've seen. With, you know, soul out of body, she's desaturated, and you got the spirit wolf guy thing mocking her and stuff, and pushes the soul back into her body and the color comes back. I don't know. It's very, it's not something that like you've seen this kind of thing before with some characters, I guess. But this one is, it's just it's a nice dynamic, and it's very cute in my opinion. Yeah, but I don't have much else to say to it other than that this felt like a more classic trailer for a character compared to some of the other things that we have seen with Honkai Star Rail related. That's not necessarily true. It's just that so far it seems Honkai Star Rail will either focus on a character or go like really deep lore background stuff that is related to said character or something that they are associated with. But this one was straight up the character doing a thing throughout the entirety of the thing, and then it leads to this interaction. And I think the only other one that has done that really is probably the first one with Kafka. However, that is just a lot of her sitting there accepting her crimes and such, which leads to that finale, which is a big like reveal of sorts. This one had a lot of motion in it, probably like the most a character has actually like gone through and done a thing that wasn't just someone talking to someone else. This was cool. I like that. Okay, let's move on. We have, how many of these do we have? Oh, we have quite a bit. We have 14 left. How many have I done? Not a lot. All right, well, we're going to keep on going. It's going to be another long video.
Mother, your letters are always welcome. The plum blossoms bloom and wither, and I occasionally catch a scent of loneliness. I once again am thinking back to the research in my childhood, together with you in No Man's Land. That comfy cabin, teeming with boundlessly joyous forms of life. Those days are unforgettable. I understood the vastness of the universe too early. I was different than every other kid around me.
It's waking up!
Birth, growth, death. Lamenting the process of life is the origin of my thinking. I began to realize that I longed for something pure. Attachment involves the insular cortex, which controls anxiety and pain. The laws of emotion can be easily broken down. Children will become more well-behaved when they receive random rewards. When I discovered how easy it was to cultivate a planet, I began to feel empty.
Wasn't expecting that.
I increasingly understand that I long for more fundamental research. Recently, I've had some different thoughts.
Ruan is such a headache.
At first, I was terrified of its appearance. It is born of wonder, does not resist, and does not grieve. It is the closest thing to the feeling I had when I was a child. It asked me, where does the research end? Life is so colorful, but it has nothing to do with me. I explore the mysteries of the universe and seek deeper answers. I have nothing to lose and nothing to gain. If life is cultivated and reproduced, you can dissect remembrance, control equilibrium, deconstruct beauty, and reproduce permanence. I will understand life and touch on these conceptions. And perhaps I, too, can become an...
Come on, what? Excuse me?
Worry not, my dear assistant. I will reward you.
What's up with the breaking the fourth wall right there? Transcendent Ruan tunes. Blushing May blooms. All right, so yeah, that was Ruan Mei. Yeah, what the heck is up with that? Hold on, a lot of people rewatch this part, and I'm gonna rewatch it myself to see if I can, because I might have missed something.
Perhaps I too can.
Perhaps you too what?
Deconstruct beauty.
Okay.
And reproduce permanence. I will understand life and
Yes.
touch on these conceptions.
Cool.
And
What else?
perhaps I too can become an
Oh yeah, that's the part there, huh? So people are trying to figure out like what she's saying there. Right. Yeah. Maybe you know what that is by now. Man, it's so hard to say because you have these characters that are incredibly smart. Ruan Mei obviously being one of them, and she is on a whole nother level, it seems. Well, you could probably say that a lot about the characters in this game, at least the main ones. But she is probably considered a character who is looking beyond just life. I don't know how to really describe it. It's I could be wrong, but it feels like she's leaning towards like, oh yeah, to understand this and that and blah blah blah, and just I feel like whatever she's saying, it's along the lines of becoming a god, right? And then you have the breaking the fourth wall thing. So that's kind of why my mind is going in that direction, because if you're going to examine life and reality, genetics, all that stuff, and you're able to decipher anything and how that works and possibly manipulate it, then after some point you definitely are playing God the moment you start altering and tampering with things like that. Whether it is you are enhancing or debuffing something or altering something, you are trying to create, which is not something that has been created before, I guess. You know, you're messing with the laws of nature and such. I'm not exactly sure if that's where this trailer is trying to go with that, but that's how I interpret it with how she was speaking, which, by the way, beautiful voice, very soft. There was a mysterious yet sad feel throughout this, and then this end here, it had that kind of build up and we reveal this fourth wall breaking moment. Either that or this was their way of showing how this is someone who's been monitoring them for quite some time. But I feel like it's more of a fourth wall break, in my opinion, if this is someone who is possibly tampering with reality itself. That is, if that's true, that's very, very interesting. And I think I mentioned this before, but I remember when Ruan Mei was announced, and when people were finding out some more things about her, there was a little controversy, as there are with a lot of characters when they first come out. It's not something you can escape in the Hoyo community, unfortunately. But as far as controversy, as far as her morals go, things that she has done or maybe she still does. I know in her demo they kind of showed test tubes, creatures in test tubes and stuff, and it's like, oh, so she is experimenting on animals at the very least, right? Something like that. So that could be seen as a Like, oh, that's not really cool. Now, I wouldn't want to test on animals, but I felt like if I was at least a pinch of intelligence, if I had a pinch of intelligence that this character has, I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is, if I was a genius and I had the ability to look into this subject, I would be intrigued. I don't know how far I would go, but I am one who does think that having knowledge is a good thing. Yeah. I'm going to go on a tangent right now. So there's this whole thing where it's like, I haven't really seen people specifically compare these two things, but you know, like there's knowledge is power, but then there's ignorance is bliss, right? And a lot of people, I feel like, would choose to be ignorant, or maybe even envious of those who choose not to look into things, to not have that need to learn or something like that, because they're happy. They have less stress. They know less about the world. Now, I'm not saying that means that they're stupid, because there are people who are plenty smart, but they choose not to watch the news and get involved with things that they ultimately have no control over, and they just go day by day living their life the best that they can. And you can say that that is ignorant to do that because you are purposely avoiding knowledge. Or the other case, people are just dumb. You know, like there's that too. Not that I would ever go up to someone and say, you're stupid, and actually mean it, because that's not cool. Unless provoked, then I mean, I'm going to tear you a new one. But anyway, but then there's the whole knowledge is power, but also knowledge brings misery and stuff, because you do learn about more truths. And man, the truth isn't always pretty when you learn about how things work and how corrupt some things are and stuff. But the idea of not knowing truths and having information is, I feel like it's rough to deal with. Personally, I'm someone who would love to choose ignorance is bliss. I would love to ignore things and just go about life like everything is just new. Just like, oh man, this is great. I am always happy. I am just focusing on the positive. But I have that problem where because I analyze things, I look at things, and I do this in everyday life as well. I personally feel like my brain is constantly on go, and I'm thinking about stuff, and I research things on my own time, just to like, not like I'm a scientist, but just like to learn more on occasion. And obviously I can't remember everything, and I'm not saying that I'm smart, because I'm not. I forget stuff all the time. Easy stuff. But for some reason, when at least when I'm interested in something, I need to, or I have this urge to learn as much as possible within that moment. Whether or not it stays is another question, but yeah. And sometimes the things you find out aren't the coolest, right? And that can lead to like anxiety and you just being sad and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, I'm talking about this because obviously she's a very smart character, and she probably sounds like she's tampering in things that normally you probably should not. But in this world, in this universe, is that so strange? I feel like there's a bunch of people who have done this. Some even possibly more. Actually, no. Obviously, people who are much more maniacal than she seems to appear, at the very least. Yeah, that's why I'm going back and forth with the whole thing, because I'm just wondering, like, if you had that ability, if you had that intelligence and even the technology to find out more about like what reality actually is, would you do it? Or would you choose to kind of back off? And that also ties to Genshin Impact stuff too, because that's kind of what that's about. Like, there's all sorts of stuff happening, and hey, you can either just play through the game and you can be like totally like, ah, yeah, this is just some adventure I'm on, cool. Or you can go and read Before Sun and Moon and lose your mind, because now you know that the other things, and like, you know, the world is not as it seems, and you don't know who you can trust. And I've had some people in the comments that are just kind of like, no, why so suspicious of the Archons? Just they're your friends, they help you out, blah blah blah. Who cares what the world was like before? Meanwhile, I'm over here like, but there are secrets being kept from you, and these beings are aware of that. How is that acceptable just to be okay? And that's the example of, you know, the knowledge versus the ignorance, the bliss versus the power, right? And sure, the more you go and look into it, there's going to be consequences. But sometimes you just gotta know. I don't know. That's just... What do you think? How do you run your daily life? Do you choose to be blissful, or do you choose for the learning side, I guess? Not the learning side. I don't know how to say it. I'm not trying to call anyone dumb. I'm just trying to go by the actual phrases here. I don't know. I guess, do you purposely ignore the truths, or do you go and seek them for the sake of your thirst for knowledge or wanting to be happy, I suppose. All right, that was, oh man, guys, this is the part where I'd apologize for wasting your time, and then I just realized I'm just not sorry. Let's go to the next one.
Penacony, planet of festivities.
Ah, Penacony, we're here now.
A cradle drowning in dreams, a haven for the cowardly. The family has summoned guests for its grand celebration. The golden blood will flow from the destruction as an offering to them. Children of the flame, this marks your rite of passage. Akash, I lit a fire in your eyes and showed you music of the strings. Serenade the celebration and hush the harmony into muted awe.
It will be done, Father.
Dubra, I set your form alight and taught you mastery of the blade. Temper it with sulfur, name the elation, and let the performer's blood and tears pour into the abyss.
As you wish, Father.
Katarina, I kindled a flame in your heart and granted you blood of fire. Use your wrath to shatter the preservation sanctum and build their gold to create a statue of our savior.
You got it, old man.
And Constance at last. My most ambitious and exceptional child. There is nothing more to teach you. Just remember, with our Penacony's midnight hour, strip away all they hold dear, and leave naught but the remembrances too.
She won't be necessary. I can take them alone.
Katarina, a little pessimism might be wise. What if we all end up dead?
Since when have those on the path of destruction feared death?
Still, it is wise to plan ahead, Father.
What is our fallback if things become perilous?
Fall back! Such a thing does not exist. Destruction is brave and heroic. To cling to life is to delay in cowardice. Relish
Penacone savor its invitation. Prepare this beautiful dream to welcome its new master from Fedora. Ifrit, Duke Inferno, Everflame Mansion.
What? Okay. This was the first time I'm pretty sure seeing any of these characters. Like, you know, I went through the demos and such, and I saw some of Penacone that way, I guess. This is a whole introduction to a plot that apparently was a thing. It's kind of cool. I have a lot of questions about these characters. A lot of demon stuff happening here. You know, you got your horns, you got your chains, you got your tail. She's a succubus, you know? Not asking for any reason, you know, and then you got your creepy puppet stuff going on. You got this guy, he's got a lot of, that looks like a mall on his cello. I mean, we're in demon time with this one. This is crazy. I got nothing. I have nothing to say other than that. This creeped me the frick out. This reminds me of oh god, I don't know his name. There's it's not exactly the same. It's kind of reverse. In Blaze Blue, there's a character. I'm going to pull this out of my ass. Carl Clover. It's like a little kid. He's got like a top hat on. Very purple theme. And then he's got this mechanical woman puppet thing that might be his sister. I don't really know the story behind it. But anyway, this just reminded me of this, of like, you know, little character, bigger puppet by their side. However, it looks like maybe this is the thing that is obviously that's controlling this to represent themselves, I suppose. Yeah. This was a little spooky, scary. I love this sequence here with the flower just continuously blooming and hold on. I want to say
There
this.
is nothing more to teach you.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. It is what I thought. It's just a continuous blooming flower, and as it continues, it's dying. You know, it's just the cycle of life and death all on one flower, just right there, super sped up over and over again. Not exactly the same, but you know, there's some crazy stuff going on. There's a lot in the first half. And the first half, a lot of crazy visuals. That hurts me. An apple with a spine in it, that's crazy. I did not like this at all. That is Yep. Okay. There's a lot of stuff. And maybe you guys watching this know a lot more about what any of this means, because holy crap. Yeah, you got your goat, which is very symbolic for devil stuff, but you have the golden blood, which is related to God stuff. And they want to offer the golden blood to the thing, and I'm like, okay. All right. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's all I got. They're up to stuff. And that's it. Oh, you have a scythe too? Cool. I'm so glad. Let's just... Mm-hmm. A lot of cool characters. A lot of questions.
A dazzling item. Are you looking for its owner?
Hey.
Allow me to divine, using your memories as a medium.
Oh, what? I don't usually pause during these. I'm sorry. Is this Welt? Or a version of Welt? Seems like this is a cameo of this is Aventurine. I don't know, anyway. Sorry, we'll continue. I'm gonna start over. I don't like normally interrupting stuff, but I had to ask the silly question.
A dazzling item. Are you looking for its owner? Allow me to divine, using your memories as a medium.
I know something.
Did you hear that? Don't go over there! Where's that come from? Oh, let's go find out.
The truth does not lie. Neither do memories. Predestined paths have already converged. She has arrived.
Excuse me, has anyone found a makeup mirror? Thank you. I was looking for it for so long.
That menacing infernal fire absorbed by the vast, profound sea. And that sea surprisingly dwells on the planet of festivities.
Okay. Cool. Alright, so maybe it wasn't Welt because it just seemed like to be some guy working in a store. But I don't know, I thought the clothes matched a very similar version of one of the earlier Welts that I saw in that video. Of it was Honkai Impact 3rd related. But still, the connection. Yeah. Oh, wow. Real quick, I will say that I do like these, just the pane glass art style on the cards. That's very cool. We got Firefly there. We have, this is probably Aventurine because you see the card. This is right. No. What's her name in Honkai Star Rail? Acheron, right? Who, there's the whole Right in May thing and all that stuff. But yeah, Acheron, I think. This. Oh, that's freaking Sparkle, which we also saw. I think we saw Sparkle. I think there was a scene of Sparkle with the transition. right here. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Yeah, that sparkle. Very, very cool touch right there. Okay. Man, this had a lot of Black Swan in it, and I'm okay with that. That's great. I liked the other thing that Black Swan was in, but that was mostly a lore drop on gods and such, which was cool, and that it was her talking to you, doing her little star fortune reading thing. And here we got more of her doing some stuff, seeing some visions and whatnot. But there's this playfulness in the beginning of it. And I like seeing her move from out of the card or out of the book or pamphlet, whatever, and you kind of just see her go from one thing to the next, whether it be a poster or a billboard, a reflection in a window, to something else. You know, like, there was a lot of that, and the style changing depending on what she was appearing in. And yeah, whether or not that is something she can actually do or whatever, but maybe that's how they interpret her way of having her visions being actually there in some technical, intangible form, witnessing things happen, you know, like seeing Sparkle run by. Sparkle's very much involved, being sneaky, doing her thing probably, right? And then other things happen. A big thing where the characters come together and looking at the cards and seeing one burn away, and then leaving us on a cliffhanger with that last line, which I got nothing for, because I just don't know with what I've experienced. But this was a lot of fun. This was a very fun one, and it left with some big mystery feel. So yeah, that's cool. I like it. All right, let's move on to the next thing. Next we have, this is Sparkle behind the curtain. Now, I will say before this begins, watching the Honkai Star Rail demos, there's a lot that I like. And there's a lot that I like more than other ones. And, but number one, my most favorite out of all of them was Sparkle's. I mean, out of everything that I've seen so far, she was my favorite. Maybe I just like crazy characters. I don't know what that is. But of course, there's also a reason for the crazy and all that stuff, right? I think they're interesting to try to understand. And going through and seeing that was very, very, it was very fun. So I'm looking forward to learning hopefully more about her here. Let's take a look. Behind the curtain.
It doesn't matter who I am off stage. All the audience needs to know is that when I'm on stage, I'm just Sparkle. It's you, my beloved mask. When I'm happy, you're smiling too. When I'm angry, you're still smiling. When I'm sad, you keep on smiling. You're like a veil that I can hide under. The one wearing the veil, that's Sparkle. It's you, my beloved mask. When I'm happy, you're smiling too. When I'm angry, you're screaming too. When I'm sad, you're crying too. You're like a mirror, showing my reflection. The one in the mirror, that's Sparkle. It's you, my beloved mask. When I'm happy, you're screaming. When I'm angry, you're crying. When I'm sad, you're smiling. You're like a face staring at me. I'm not Sparkle. No. I am Sparkle. So, when I realized life was just a play, I wanted to leave the stage. Because off stage, there's an even bigger stage. What do you say? Who's the real Sparkle?
I was not disappointed. This was the first of these trailers to actually give me chills. I still have a shiver up my spine right now. I have goosebumps on my arm, which I'm not even going to bother to try to show you because my arms are hairy as hell and you're not going to see it. But I am... okay. I like this a lot. My apologies for the silence. I am collecting my thoughts. Okay. Okay. You know, of course people went to this one. Of course. She's doing the mimicking of the yandere thing. Anyway, do you know what this reminds me of? It's not, obviously it's not exactly the same, but how they told this story a little bit is. And I'll explain why that makes sense. Why this makes sense, what I'm about to say. This reminds me a lot of Nahida's teaser from Genshin Impact. That one told of a story, the same story, over and over again about her birthday. But the context changes. The words that Nahida used in her teaser were pretty much, I think, identical or the same. It was the same story over and over again, but the visuals changed the context, and the way she spoke the words also changed how the feeling was. It went from something like, oh, this is peaceful, this is pretty, to I'm going to cry myself to sleep forever now. if you're interested in that reaction, I do have a longer video where I reacted to a lot of Genshin Impact demos at one time, all the ones that were currently out at the time when I first started, and Nahida is in there, back to back with Wanderer, which is like just, you know, destroy my heart now. But yeah, that trailer, that teaser, Nahida's actually made me cry. So if you want to see me tear up, then that's that one. That's what that will do. Yeah. So although this one didn't have me tear up, like I said, it put a shiver in my spine. It was pretty intense. And no, it's not the same words over and over again, but it's this concept of me and this mask, right? And how it changes. Whew, there's a lot that could be taken away from this. As far as, is this the work of is there some issue as to what caused Sparkle to be the way she is? Was she someone that was always kind of a little mentally unstable, or is this the product of something else that caused it, such as let's see, there's that god of madness that I mentioned earlier, Aha, right? There's a bunch of masks, and he's the crazy one, right? So is this mask like a weird gift from him in some way? Or is she possessed by him? Or is she just kind of like an avatar of sorts, or someone that represents what he likes because of her condition and such? So I don't know if she's actually being controlled or convinced to do one thing, or if she's a follower, or is she just someone that falls in line with what he's all about. Actually, in our demo, I think there's a scene of like Sparkle's kind of like dancing on his mask, or one of his masks, I think. So that would make sense. Definitely has something to do with her. Don't know exactly how, or this didn't really give me an origin per se, but it definitely showed the different sides of her. And once again, this is also not just because she's the crazy character, but once again, Joker I'm going to bring up again, because, or at least the Heath Ledger version, right? And I'm just comparing it to, he has a story of how, you know, you want to know how I got these scars? Like, he has that whole thing. And every time he tells the story, it's different. It's a different story. You don't know what to believe. Yeah. And honestly, like the why he is the way, like, could have been like self-mutilation for all we know, because he's unhinged and fabricates a story every time because reasons, and that's how he copes with it, right? Like, you don't know. It's a mystery. So we still don't have that information here. We don't really know, or at least I don't upon watching this the first time. But all of these sparkles are real. None of them are real. Whatever that is, it's just, you just get the sense that there is that there's some kind of battle within, or something else behind the wheel, or whatever that is. There's the whole back and forth, like, you know, I'm not Sparkle. I am Sparkle. This is Sparkle. That's not Sparkle. Like, it's so fascinating. And here's the other thing, before we move on. I know I'm spending a lot of time on these, but what I appreciate about Sparkle's character, without actually getting to the point in the game where she is a character that you interact with at some point, not knowing much about her story at all, other than just speculating from her demo and this trailer. She's like, she seems to be a well-written crazy character, because it's very easy to want to create a character who is crazy for a story, and then they're not an interesting character. A character who is insane shouldn't be there just because they're insane. Does that make sense? There's usually something else to it. Or maybe they are there just because they're insane, but it's good to actually go into their psyche a bit and actually try to... It's fun to try to understand where they're coming from, if at all possible. Right? Like, there's the whole... Man, I'm unable to quote it right now because it's not in front of me. But once again, her demo, she's constantly, blasting herself with her little toy pistol, right? With the, and the confetti keeps shooting out of it, and it's... But she also talks about... Man, I don't have it in front of me. This is going to kill me. What I think I remember is that she kind of mentions how hints at, like, she's aware. She's aware of the outcome of the situation without actually, like, the difference between trying to be smart versus being a fool. And it's like the person who tries to be smart is actually the fool, but the fool is someone who just knows when to not reveal that they're smart. That's kind of the gist of that, I think, if I remember correctly. And being the crazy person, being herself, being that how eccentric that she is, but also letting you know that she believes that she's ahead of the game. She knows everything that she's doing. She's perfectly aware of the actions that she is taking and all that stuff and whatever. But she's not saying that. She's not saying that she's smart. She's just kind of like, I'm not going to tell you that though. Right? So it's kind of like her constantly with the gun trying to, like, pop herself in the head and, like, finding, like, the little thrill or enjoyment of it. At the same time, it's like she knows she's not going to blow her head off. Right? But you're watching, you're like, oh God, like, every time and stuff. Like, you just, you keep pulling that trigger, it's going to happen. You're going to lose your freaking mind, literally. And she's like, nope. I know the outcome. I know what's up. This is freaking planned, but I'm not going to tell you that. I'm going to keep making you guess, and it's just, oh man, that's part of what I took from that. So you get a little bit inside of her head and, like, how she thinks and perceives things, and then how she acts on them. And that's cool. That's a well-written character who is unhinged. An example of, I'm going to do it anyway. I was kind of like, man, don't throw anything under the bus. Don't do that. Don't be that guy. But I am going to be that guy. I haven't really talked about it before, because I don't really do this on my channel. But I'm using it as an example. And I don't know specific names, but, there's the show Ruby, RWBY, and I'm just going to be flat out honest. I was a huge fan of the show in the beginning, followed Monty Ohm and stuff. Rest in peace. Guy's a freaking legend. But second season on, That show has some of the worst writing I've ever seen in anything in my entire life. I am so sorry. I'm not trying to insult people, but I hate watched it for a long time, and eventually I had to drop it because I had no more hope for the show. If you like it, that's fine. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, that's also fine. But there's a character in it who is literally described during a panel with the writers from some convention when they're talking about this character being introduced, and they refer to him as the crazy one. And that's all there is to the character. He just does weird things with like his tongue hanging out. He's like, I'm crazy. And it's like, there's nothing deeper to that character. It's like, we just need a crazy henchman guy. And I'm like, that's so disappointing. That's so fucking lame on so many levels. It could have been someone interesting. But let's just keep making stereotypes of characters, throw them out there with no real meaning to them. So I dropped that show big time because they have trouble with their writing. And it's unfortunate because it had a lot of promise. That's my personal opinion. You don't have to care or know what the hell I'm talking about. That's fine. But I'm going to say it like it is. Show sucks. Sorry. This does not suck. Obviously, very different, like, like whatever. But I'm talking about like the stereotype of like the crazy character. This is one that actually freaking works. And I know I spent a lot of time talking about this, but I think Sparkle is my favorite character for this reason. Because even the things that I guessed about her could still be wrong, but at least I'm still interpreting something deeper about her. And it's really fascinating. I also heard that she's in Honkai Impact 3rd, but it's like actually her and not just like an alter version of her. Like it's just, anyway, I don't know if that has anything to do with the story itself, or if it's just a cool thing that they added. But yeah, that's interesting to me. Okay, I talked a lot. Wow, man, I'm gonna get in trouble one of these days for actually speaking my mind, just because, cancel culture is a thing. It's a shame. I could be canceled right now for all I know. People are going to be like, how dare you talk bad about Ruby? That show's great. It's garbage. Get over it. All right, we're moving on.
Do you still remember why Izumo forged these blades?
Ooh.
Because in times past, when the Yao Yorozu no Kami descended here, they wrought death and disaster on this world and its people. To save the world, Izumo splintered 70,033 blades and forged them into the 12 Sentinels. The first was truth, forged by the Sovereign of Revelation. It could teach mortals the way of the law and create miracles from the deconstruction of all things. The second was Sky, forged by the eternal Zenith. It could form a barrier from the firmament and prevent the innumerable gods of misery from passing through. The third was Howl, able to summon lightning to rend the heavens and meteors to rain down divine punishment. The fourth was Mist, able to break earth and tear cloud with biting wind and rain. The fifth was Frost, freezing the land in an instant. The sixth was Fate, the restless cycle of life and death. Then there was Flare, Thought, Root, Form, Bind, Maw. With those sentinels, we seized on tomorrow's expectation, winning victory after victory, until...
All of them were broken. The price of every victory was a world in its entirety. And in the end, that entirety was lost. And so Izumo splintered 12 sentinels and forged them into 2 bearers. The first was Origin. The second was End. The world forged 70,047 blades, and only one could save Izumo. But you and I both know the road to salvation does not exist. There is no trace of tomorrow.
That's cool.
Resisting the Kamigami, humanity will eventually become Oni. We pawned everything, all for the destruction of two worlds. In times past, Takamagahara, upon which the Kami descended, was surely as beautiful as Izumo. So, do you still remember why Izumo forged these blades?
Because of a lie. An end that never existed. We long since strode into their shadow. Each step forward one that we can never walk back. Until the last blade is forged into... not.
Whoa.
I knew this world was fleeting. And yet...
Oh, you're gonna hit. Oh, no. No. I don't know what to say about this. So, forgive me for sounding dumb. Is this Acheron? Or is this a character that's like something else? That, because I'm getting Acheron vibes, but I just don't want to, I don't want to assume. I feel very inspired from watching this, and also dumb because I don't fully understand the context. Obviously, I don't understand the context about a lot of things that I've been watching in this, but once again, more lore stuff and beautiful artwork to go with it. And I'm just I don't know, man. Man, I don't know, but look at that. That's amazing. Oh boy. Okay. I honestly don't. I'm not trying to just skip out on this to just move faster through these, but I don't know what else I could say about the visuals and stuff that I haven't said in previous ones. But the choreography in this was great. Let's see if there's something I could freaking talk about because I can. Okay, this I love this. Okay. Seeing this angle, seeing this evil, like shadowy fog just encroaching in, I think that's a word, encroaching in on her location. Once again, she's got the cleaner lines to pop out so we can really see her. Despite her color palette matching pretty much everything else around her, you can still see her in the middle of this because she's just so much cleaner looking. But it's also great that way because it symbolizes how messed up everything else is around her and how that keeps moving in, and you have these shadow figures coming out of the shadow and fog to attack her, and each swing is just blowing back these shadows and the fog and stuff, and she's just like making her way through, and it is such a cool shot.
Race of tomorrow.
Boom! I love that. Like, they just go splatter, and just the shockwave or the burst from it like sends everything back. That was cool. And then also you just, yeah, this is gotta be Acheron related because of the eye. She's got the red, like, come on, right, or I don't know. All right, I feel we're gonna move. And then there's this. Yeah, and the transition into this was awesome, and the transition out of it was great too. Let's see it transition out again.
I knew this world was fleeting.
Yeah, that. Oh man, especially on the word fleeting, and you just swirls up, disappears. Okay, we're moving on. These are like mini movies at this point. Let's see, we got 1, 2. Oh wait, I can just look at the number. You stupid man. Okay, 9. All right. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to click this one, immediately pause it, and I am going to go on a quick break, but I'll be back in a second to continue the rest of these. See you in a second. I've returned. Let's get back into this.
Thank you for tuning in to this interview. As Miss Robin mentioned, her introduction to music came from her mother. During that disaster...
Fighting again? Mom? Don't be afraid. Look here. It's a bird. Look, a bird. I want to hear more of Miss Robin's story. Do you know her, Miss? Let me tell you all a secret. This bird knows Robin. It knows all about her. During that disaster, Robin couldn't hear anything except for the loud ringing in her ears. But she knew that her mother was singing to her. She could see her mother's lips moving. She could feel her mother's breath. You'll be safe and sound. She could hear that silent wish.
One day, you'll step onto an even bigger stage. Even more people will hear you sing, and they'll sing with you.
No, they'll sing with both of us, brother.
Right, both of us.
She wanted to spread that wish through song. And weave in even more wishes. But behind the beautiful sounds, there were noises of disharmony. Sounds of every form encircled her. The gazes of many followed her. She thought about fleeing, but something always stopped her. Because the singer could never turn her back on her audience. Or herself. The self that others protected, that wanted to protect others, that others forgave, that wanted to forgive others, that wanted to make her wishes come true. The self that wanted to make others' wishes come true. For every self, for every wish, she couldn't give up. Miss, I also want to sing on stage and sing for Miss Robin. Can my wish come true? Of course it can. Let's start now. The songs you sing, she will absolutely love them. Miss Robin. I want to be a doctor. I want to keep singing when I grow up. The fighting's almost over. Brother, our wish is slowly coming true.
This is the end of our interview. It is reported that Miss Robin has now left for Penacony. Dear friends, we hope to see you again on the planet of festivities.
Okay, so that was about Robin. I asked some questions about Robin last time. I reacted to Honkai Star Rail stuff. And I got my answers, so thank you for that about what she is. And if she was, in fact, related to Sunday and all that stuff. And yeah, things were confirmed. I appreciate it. Now, watching this, I have a couple other questions. One is that it seemed like there was some kind of war, or there's fighting, right? And she mentioned all she could hear is the ringing in her ears. I don't know if that's her giving a dramatic retelling of that moment because of all the chaos and it was loud, or does Robin actually have some other some condition or some issue? Like, is she hard of hearing? Is she deaf? Is it like some crazy thing where she's like a prodigy because she can't hear but she has a beautiful voice kind of thing? Or like, what's that about? Or is that just for that moment to be dramatic and stuff and to really drive it home to you that like that's how bad the chaos was outside, you couldn't hear crap, just like in that daze of all the insane things that were happening. And I guess at her home, she kind of kept her identity a secret because she became an idol and was being, spied on, paparazzi, like all that stuff. And I'm wondering, like, is this kind of a job that she had, working at an orphanage with these kids? But they didn't seem to realize it was her. Or do they know it's her? Like, there's a... I thought this was very good, but some of it, context-wise, I thought was a little confusing. Whether or not the kids knew that this Robin is the same Robin, I don't know how you can tell if she wasn't. Or, like... Yeah, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. I like this, how it's, her making a promise to her younger self, her family and stuff. That's cool. But yeah, these guys are just stupid. Freaking drove off a ledge. That's not even her fault. They had their lights on. There was a barrier here, and they drove right through it. Are you kidding me? I don't know. I'm just saying that because I could see someone be like, she's a bad person. She led those people to their deaths. She pointed them off the cliff. Bro, just don't drive off the cliff. Anyway, I don't know. It's funny. But yeah, so... This is essentially her story. Where she came from, what that was like, what she became, and then moved on to Penacony. Okay. They had some really nice transitions. I feel like, hold on. Why does this look familiar? I feel like I've seen this thing before, but like more threatening. But I don't know. Anyway. Man, there was a really cool transition in here too. Oh yeah, like showing all this stuff and it's just spinning and it pulls out and it's like a record and then it on the window and that. Oh man, that was cool. All right. Yeah. A lot of visually appealing stuff in this one. And I expressed my confusion a little bit. But yeah. Damn, Robin's mom though? Anyway, sorry. We're gonna move on. Oh, one other thing I wanted to say about that. I know that there are EPs. I think that's what they are. Of like, there's some Robin songs that are available to listen to. I've only kind of heard whatever is in her demo, I guess. Or I guess maybe, I don't know if that's the same or a different song that plays when she is on the battlefield. I don't know. My point is that even though I don't really know what I'm talking about when it comes to music, if that is something you want me to listen to and talk about at the very least with my inexperience, then let me know. I'd be more than happy to do that. I plan on listening to music from the games in general and stuff. So if that's something you want me to make a video about or tack on to something, then maybe I will. All right. Anyway, just wanted to say that. Let's move on to this next one, which is presently beneath a shared sky of stars.
Command, this is AR-26710. Please respond. I don't think they'll respond. What should we do? We're the only survivors around. No matter what, we have to get in touch with the others. Huh?
If that's the case, it'll be faster this way, right?
Hey, you.
I understand. Article 4 of Glamoth's military regulations. Leaving the cockpit is strictly prohibited. This way, we'll be discovered very quickly. Even though we'll be punished. That can't be helped. How many times is this for you now? Leaving the cockpit like this.
Oh. Article 2 of Glamoth's military regulations. Remain on guard. Article 4. Leaving the cockpit is strictly prohibited. Do you have a death wish?
A Firefly Type 5 personal escort model. Very nice.
You're the odd one out now.
You can't connect to command either. Why don't you join us?
No thanks. I'll just pretend I didn't see anything.
What's this? I picked it up on the battlefield. It seems to be a civilian device. Even though it's no longer working. And the lens is scratched. If you look through the lens, it feels like looking at a whole different world.
Lens? No wonder you wear those weird goggles.
I have other reasons too. If everyone looked the same, how would we tell each other apart? Your hair is very unique. Thank you. I've been growing it out. The length is also proof of your experience. But sometimes it gets in my eyes. I'm not sure if I should put it up. Your turn. Are you really not going to say anything?
Comms are back up. Article 8. Surviving knights should immediately return to their units.
Looks nice. It really suits you.
I hope we can see stars on the next battlefield. Will we see each other again? Probably not. What if the war ends? Then we should be able to find each other.
What should I say? I wish us all a triumphant return.
Wow, okay. Whew, that was Firefly's trailer, right? Man. Boy, okay, so what I like the most about this, man. So I'm guessing there's some war, you know, as there is. And these characters are very heavily involved for some faction. And I'm guessing that they are clones of someone. Some duplicates, something like that's going on. Otherwise, I don't know why they would have that little talk at the end there about you know, individuality, referring to the glasses as goggles. And it's like, I don't know, like, I don't know why you wear those. And it's like, well, I have reasons. And talks about how that character, she says that she it's able to tell us apart with these differences and such. And then that's when you have Firefly make a piece of cloth into a ribbon and put that in her hair. And that's her way of, I guess, having a little bit of her own self, right? It's very, yeah, I mean, that has to be it. I don't know what else it would be. Regardless, I really like that message of, you know, despite they're under very strict orders, they're on a specific mission. It sounds like they are very much being treated as weapons of war, which is, I guess, what they are, right? But even that, they still want to have some kind of sense of humanity. Even the one that was more about the rules and being a stickler about them when they showed up, they even said, like, what was it? Just like, I'm going to look the other way. I'm not going to tell anybody. Like, you should really get back into your stuff. You should, like, back to the mission. But I'm not, I didn't see this. Like, even that, like, you might think like, oh, they're being kind of not fun, maybe too serious, whatever that is, or not allowing themselves to appreciate the little things, which is potentially true. But at the same time, there was still that, even though very strict sounding, there still was that little bit of like humanity popping through, where still giving a chance or looking the other way for others' happiness, even if temporarily. So I think that, in a sense, plus the other stuff I've mentioned about that, is very, very powerful. because there are plenty of people that I think go through life, or they have struggle with identity and who they are, and if they get stuck within a like a schedule or like a ritual of sorts, like just repeating the same things day in, day out, their life is just feels constantly the same. Wake up, go to work, come home, go to bed, with other little things in between, just in order to function properly. But it's essentially that day in and day out until you're old and you die, and sometimes that's all those people got to do. And there's that fear of that. I know in particular, I had that fear a little bit. I mean, I don't think it's obviously it's nowhere near this. I'm not, well, like maybe I am a clone. Maybe there are other me's out there. I've been told I look like a lot of people. But anyway, I'm average white guy, you know what I mean? But yeah, I remember in high school into college, I started saving money so I could go to Japan, because I thought to myself, if I don't find a way out of this country, I'm going to get stuck. I'm going to end up in this hometown of mine with some basic job. And it's not like, this isn't a bad thing. This is just my own ideals for myself, right? And I was like, I just don't want that. I just don't want to be in a situation where everything is the same and this is just what's expected of me. I want to do something else. I want to see what the other side of the world is like. And I did do that. And I did that for nearly 6 years. And that was I'm really glad that I did. Not all of it was great. There was a lot of it that was, but it definitely gave me a different perspective, and it made me feel that I could do what I wanted. To an extent, obviously, but like I could experience life differently. I didn't have to just stay where I was and work. I was capable of making a difference to change my life, at least a little bit, at the time, to get a better understanding of what that stuff's about. And I'm still, I'm still ignorant. There's still so much to learn and to experience to enrich one's life, I think. And now it's just, yeah, it's become survival plus try to do what I want. Yeah. Anyway, point that I'm trying to make is, I'm glad that I'm liking that's a topic that they tackle. I know, like, clones or people made for the sake of being weapons is not like a new topic, especially in Hoyo. But I do enjoy seeing it and how it's interpreted, how they share those stories. Because it's usually with these characters that are made for a purpose, who are not meant to be human but turn out to be very human in some respects, or that have a strong desire to be more so. And seeing this little origin right here of Firefly, not necessarily origin, but this little precursor, I guess, to events that probably happen later, you have more of a sense of, this is how she was, this is how life was for her. So seeing this, you definitely probably get an idea of however her mannerisms are when you actually meet her. I actually don't know, but I imagine she seems to be a very happy character. At least that's what she puts on. I don't know if that's true, but anyway, this was nice. This was a nice little wholesome one. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to the next.
During this debt collection period, Penacony has been reincorporated into the IPC's distribution of shares. But we also paid a high price. A cornerstone was completely destroyed. Thus, Diamond summoned everyone, with me as chair, to decide Aventurine's punishment. Take away his position as one of the 10 Stonehearts.
We all took an oath to treasure the cornerstones like our own lives. But Aventurine's death was a necessary part of the plan.
Death. This kind of unnecessary extravagance was just for yourself, wasn't it?
Cellulite, please don't ignore the facts and just assume things.
By reclaiming Penacony, the Strategic Investment Department won over another vote of the 7 board members. The 10 Stonehearts have always valued results. But some value their oaths more. Sapphire is in favor of punishment. There's also Agate. They might be dead. I even have to convey their opinions for them. Just my 2 cents. I think we're being overly timid. If it were me, I'd let everything become more of a bloodbath. Amber prefers to remain neutral. This is her vote. But as an Intellitron, I think there should be more justice in your life.
Only one vote left, as expected. The final verdict comes down to this.
4v4, the natural outcome. Everyone here has always been so united. We are all the same. We band together, merely to obtain what we want. If that's the case, why not keep extracting from this one? You can come back. Your time isn't up yet. This is also Diamond's recommendation. For the war among the eons, we shall give it our all. The mighty hammer of the Amber Lord has struck. Since we bear the duty of the Stonehearts, even if we must risk our life and limb, we will follow the preservation to the end. All for the Amber Lord.
Okay. Wow. Wow. Huh. I see. Kind of. Boy. So there's a big old thing of members called the Stonehearts. There's quite a few characters involved. And it seems that there's a proposition being made. And some characters that we know are already members. And, I mean, I could be wrong, but this? Is that Kafka? Just chilling in a, what I hope to be a wine bath? No, or is it not? There's like a tiara thing. Maybe it's not. Okay, no, I don't know. I'm not sure. I just saw the hair, and I was like, yeah, okay, we're not okay. Well, we're not gonna look at that. That scared me a little bit. Yeah, there's. This one confused me, but it definitely shows that there is a lot going on. I mean, you know, here's the difference. I've been mainly focusing when it comes to lore stuff on Genshin Impact stuff, and you know that is focusing on some characters and Tevat's history and lore and stuff, and that's one world though for the most part. Yeah, there's some other things that kind of lead to that or interact with it, but that is pretty contained. Honkai Star Rail, you're going from planet to planet, and each world is going to have its own lore, and then there's characters within them that have their own stuff going on, different organizations and such, and their plans, and how they probably tie into a bunch of other things. Like they were talking about the Eons, for example, which I think was the name for what we call the gods. I think they're called Eons. But yeah, so apparently that's a whole thing. And before that, there was that other order of like the demons and stuff, and now and there's like a war out there that Firefly's been involved with, and there's all sorts of stuff. Oh yeah, and then there's Kafka and the Stellaron Hunter thing, and you got your Genius organization with them and their science and things, and there's just so many factions. So forgive me. I feel dumb. But it's cool. I don't really have anything new to say for the visuals. I've talked about silhouettes before. I've talked about just how they portray something, like showing this freaking what's her face? Oh my god. I pulled for her. I talked about her in the last video. What the heck is her name? It's the IRS chick. It's the taxes chick. It's it's her, right? Like that's her. And what? I'm looking it up. God. Does it begin with an N? I can't think. I just the hell is her name? I'm getting nothing. I'm gonna find it, and you're just gonna have to skip or sit here with me. It's killing me. Just show me the characters. You crazy. I can't believe I can't remember her name. I really liked her. Topaz! That's right. Jeez. It's not an N. I'm stupid. And Nummy. Topaz and Nummy. That's Topaz, right? I don't know. Anyway, man. That was hard. That hurt my brain. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Oh, no, duh. No, duh. They were talking about the different stones. Adventurine is stone. Topaz is a stone. They said sapphire before. Stonehearts. Wow. Oh boy, it's hard being me. My apologies. That took a long time to get my mind right about that. A note to self: just don't break for lunch in the middle of these anymore. You eat and you become stupid, I guess. That's just how that is. We're moving on to the next one before I say another dumb thing. Mind the Swelter.
Gifted swordmaster, taught by Huayan, Flame Wheel Octet Yunli. Do you wish to be champion of the universe?
That's quite a title.
You will become the sword champion, towering above all. The war dance is merely one small step on your path. A good sword can make you invincible.
That's terrifying.
People got what they wanted with me in their hands. A mediocre swordsman instantly became world famous. And a dying old woman finally carried out her revenge. Your future is right here. You just need to tell me your desire.
You're already at death's door and yet still a chatterbox. You cursed sword. You're still struggling, even with the molten remains standing ready. My desire?
Don't you want to go to the law? Don't you want to become the sword champion?
Is to melt cursed swords like you.
Wow, okay, this took a turn I was not expecting.
Truth behind you fulfilling human wishes is that you devoured people's wills and turned them into zombies. But humans should be the one to decide where their sword points. The war dance ceremony? I couldn't care less. But the sword that will be the victor's prize.
Yuli? Are you hungry? Eat first, then go back to melting swords.
But I want to eat berry pheasant skewers. Berry pheasant skewers. Berry pheasant skewers.
Just wait a little bit longer. You can get some once we're on the Lawfu.
Okay. Man, I cut it real close to the thing. That's like, it's over. It went, jump back down. Okay, hold on a second. All right. Yeah. When this started and we started hearing evil sword talk, I was honestly straight up like, oh, is the sword that she uses, is that really cursed and whispers things? I was going to be like, that's, I don't know, not the same, but similar to the other character with the beast spirit thing inside of her, I guess. I don't know. It wouldn't be exactly the same, but I was like, all right, it's similar though. Nope, I was wrong. I was very wrong. She finds them and destroys cursed swords. That's pretty badass. That's a lot of temptation being thrown at this character, and for her to just be like, just so driven, just to be like, nope, you're messed up, and I'm gonna get rid of you because of what you do to people. Whew. Very cool. And then she just turns out to be extremely hungry afterwards too. What if it tried tempting her with food? Would she still burn that sword? Anyway, yeah, good. I was surprised. I like that. I like that a lot. I really liked this shot when she was just speaking her truth, speaking her feelings towards these cursed swords, being all like, yeah, you just turn people into zombies, and just walking through with the swords in the background and the flames and just looking pretty badass. Like, that was pretty cool. That was good. And I like that. All right. Okay, let's move on to the next. We only have a few more.
首相は将軍の魂を弔うためにある。またあの光試してみる。この矢が流れ星を追い越せるか。かつて私たちは食料として死ぬか鮮度として生きるかしかなかった。でもあの光を見つけた。それは言った。ただ遠くを見ろ。ただ速さを求めろ。ただ前へ進め。そうすれば遵守の矢尻が見つかる。私はもう地を這いつくばる獲物じゃない。奴らの指揮を決める力がある。
勇猛なる運気部請求の勝利。老公を打ち儒家の災いを鎮める。単身敵陣を破り功績を上げる。天撃将軍がいる以上明生を揺るがすことはできない。
意味物はまだ残ってる。天地はまだ自由じゃない。低級の矢には消えない力がある。私こそその矢よ。まだ残党はいる。決戦は終わってない。私が先陣を切ればその先には大将がある。足りない。まだ足りない。この恐怖と向き合うといい。遵守は死ぬまで止まらない。
Ooh. Oh, there's more to this. Hold on.
天球の神よ。いつの日か恐怖が私を飲み込むわ。でもこの矢尻はあなたより先にこの心臓を貫く。
Ooh. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, so that was in Japanese. I believe that was Japanese. And oh man, just this was cool because it gave you that little something extra at the end there, which is the first time we've seen these in this. At least I think so. I hope I haven't skipped over anything at the end of any of these trailers. If I did, someone make a note of it and I'll go back and I'll look at that so I can maybe understand more context. But this was okay, so I mean, the story being told here, from what I can tell, is she went from being someone who she'd considered would need help, was weak, defenseless, whatever that is, but something clicked and she had to, you know, essentially become the hero that she needed back then, but for everyone else. So I really like that story of not just like a coming of age thing, but that realization that she felt like she was the one that needed to step up, right? And be what she is today. And how, you know, how loyal she is to this cause and so on. And then we have this ominous thing at the end here, where it seems like she's literally fighting her own demons. And it even said something and had parentheses around it, so I guess it's referencing something that we would know about, maybe if we heard about it in a story or read something or whatever. Moon something. But at least to me, she hinted at she would one day have to be put down herself in fear of what she could become. Right? So she's got something going on that's pretty pretty spooky. A lot of the visuals of this trailer also remind me of some of the older ones, specifically the one where we had God, I can't remember any of these names, and I am so sorry. It also doesn't help that their name is not in the title of the videos, because it's not always about a specific character, but things that revolve around them too. But essentially the one that Amelie voices in that one. I felt like the style very similar here. Anyway, that's what I have to say about that. This was cool. All right. Let's move on to the next.
Oh, triple-faced soul, please sear his tongue and palms with a hot iron, so that he will not be able to fabricate lies and false vows.
The dream is over.
I ask you, what was your original dream? To let everyone hear our song, and to sing together with the masses. I wished only for the pure land in my imagination, a place where people laugh and also slumber. But with even such a small wish, I still broke my promise. Shadows loom over it, and reality is in utter chaos. I'm unable to protect even those closest to me. The paradise was never meant to look like this. Has your dream changed? I don't know. But I see that people in the land of the dreams still live in another kind of prison. Self-judging, self-doubting, self-denying, and then robbed, oppressed, exploited. Unknowingly, happiness has long left them. If I could create a future for them, if I could be the light that shines upon the world. I ask you, has your dream come true? Without a doubt. As you see, in this paradise I have built, the virtuous are comforted, the weak are protected, the sinful are judged. Our dream has come true. Then do you know why everything is now so silent? Because people are asleep, no longer laughing. No, it is because they no longer wish to slumber here. In this sweet dream, only I remain. When the last actor leaves the stage, the show must come to an end. And now, the final question. Why does life slumber? Because someday, I too will wake up from my dream. And once again welcome the arrival of tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, so Sunday, once again, in his demo, I watched that, and I remember complimenting it big time for, despite not knowing what was going on, or just like watching all those trailers in general and like not really having the context, some trailers were better than others, than actually giving you a hint about the character than others. And I know some people disagree with me with that, and you have your right to your opinion, as I do mine. So with that, I remember being able to pick various things and to just really get maybe like a base idea of what the character is about, what he struggles with, etc. And I wasn't really told that I was wrong, so I guess I did relatively okay trying to understand him, at least with the context given to me. Here, also, I guess, it's very similar. This guy is, I mean, man, once again, shades of gray, right? Because this guy seems like he's a good guy. He speaks like he's a good guy. But something tells me that it's not all good. Or at least his perspective is at least twisted. Something had happened to him. He went through, his experiences have molded him a certain way to believe, to think a certain way, and he is doing whatever it is he's doing that is causing essentially what would be considered a problem for a lot of other people. I don't know how literally any of this is, but it feels like this guy wants the world in his, and the image that he wants it to be in, this dream, this peaceful state. But that also eliminates the noise, which also takes away the other things that make the world so good, such as singing and laughter and such. And even he is unable to tell whether or not this is the dream anymore, right? Because the dream was to, sing the song, make people happy, just like all this stuff. And now it's like, yeah, this is peace. But is it? But I have to make sure it stays this way, because if not, then other things are going to happen, and that's bad. So the play must go on, and it will continue to do so as long as not all the actors leave the stage. And guess what? That's me. I don't plan on leaving. So as long as I'm here doing this, my plan works. Not literally a play, but you know what I mean? Like, that's the sense I get. He is deep in whatever he's doing, and he is currently dedicated to it because he doesn't have any other options, or feels like he doesn't have any other options. And it's the best he can come up with. And to him, although he's not saying that he's a hero or being heroic in any way, shape, or form, but of course, from his perspective, he would be the hero of this story. He thinks he'd be doing the right thing. And in my opinion, that is an interesting villain of sorts, a villain archetype, where what they believe is what things need to be or should be in order for there to be peace in some way, right? Like their intention isn't technically bad, but the method to get to such a thing probably is, or at least they take it to a whole nother level. They go too far, right? For example, recently I uploaded from Genshin Impact Mizuki's story quest. I recommend you check out that video if you're interested in seeing my my playthrough of that. I thought that was very fun. And there's a moment in it where you're asked the question, if you could remove all your stress, would you do it? It's something along the lines of that. And I thought about it way longer than I probably should have, because the clear answer is no. And the reason why you wouldn't do that is because you would ultimately change yourself in the process. If you were to remove all stress and never have stress again, you are a different person now. You no longer... You would get to a point where you just don't know what that feeling is. You would have no urgency to do anything. You wouldn't have a life, essentially. Yeah, maybe everything will just be okay. But once again, if you don't have hardship, if you don't have struggles, if you're never angry, if you're never sad, then how the fuck do you know what happiness is? You wouldn't. You would just be a shell. And that's what that is. So I feel like that is similar to this in a way, where it sounds like here he's pushing the envelope a little bit. He's going a little beyond to make things perfect to become this dream of his, but it's not the real answer. And by doing it this way, it makes things lifeless. But hey, I mean, I guess that's peace. I don't know. Anyway, that's just what I'm interpreting. I could be way off. Maybe this guy is 100% good, all sunshine and rainbows, hasn't caused a single problem, and he's just all up in his head over other things. That'd be fine too, whatever it is. But just from watching this and not knowing the context of, you know, what happens in the actual game itself at all, or how things lead up to this point, this is what I'm able to grasp from it. So yeah, that's just what I'm gonna share. I mean, yeah, both his demo and this trailer right here, very, very fascinating. There's a lot to take from this, and there's a lot of symbolism and stuff through like all this. I mean, I could really, if I really wanted to, take each of the, I mean, look at that shot. That's so, and the thorny vines and stuff. Oh man. Anyway, there's so much symbolism. I could actually take the majority of these trailers and dedicate entire videos of mine to like just analyze those videos more so deeply, if at least from like an artistic standpoint, and what that might tell you narratively just by how it appears to be. How the music builds in this one is great too. There are other things with music that I just keep forgetting to talk about. Like, I think once again, Sparkle's Myriad Celestia trailer, I didn't even talk about her music, but I think that was the best out of all of these Myriad Celestia trailers thus far, in my opinion. But I really do like when they touch upon like the orchestra stuff and the classical stuff, and then it evolves and it changes and turns to something else more dramatic. Like, I always love that feeling. But anyway, yeah. Yeah, one day, I mean, let me know in the comment section if you actually want me to really take my time with any of these trailers and do like a full-on analysis and explain to you I know I'm doing a lot of it now, but for some of them, I think there's more that could even be said. But I've already spent a lot of time going through this. We have a couple more left, and I don't think I should focus another hour just on this. So let's move on. And like I said, if that's something you're interested in, then let me know. If enough people think so, I don't know, upvote that comment that says, yeah, do it, and we'll see. We'll see what that turns out to be like.
Are you going to die with destruction?
Why? Me? Did I? Already?
Life is inherently born from nothing. You still have the right to choose. Move forward. As long as you can remember where you were supposed to go.
Welcome, welcome. My name is Tingyun. Customers are always welcome. Businesses cherish peace above all else. Customer, allow me to cool you down with a fan. It works wonders. The guild departs tomorrow. Please have a good night's rest, everyone. The Whistling Flames got a big business deal this time.
Even if we have to leave the Xianzhou for a long time, it's still worth it.
Taking care of your tail is paramount before setting off. Tingyun? That's a good name.
Now, it's mine. And you belong over there. A beautiful, splendid end. Destruction. No, I will stay here. Even if pain still eats away at me, I will still burn bright in this torrid fire. I have seen everything. My direction lies forward. I will see all the many worlds in this vast universe. And I will take back the life taken from me. Just like right now, it's as if we're going back to the start of everything. Reuniting with old friends. Then, setting out again.
Okay, Tingyun. Man. Whew, look at that. Oh, that's a desktop background. Anyway, I mean, a lot of these are. So when I reacted to her demo, I was like, this character died, and apparently that's what happened. Damn. And now she's back, or a version of her is back. Interesting, though. It showed that there was this darker presence there that was going to return instead, and then she was like, nah, I'll deal with the pain of dealing with this crap, and I'll still be in control, thank you very much. So yeah, I guess she's back, and she's in control, and boy, was this a pretty trailer. I don't have much else to say. I mean, Kitsune Lady. I like my Kitsune ladies. She seems cool. I didn't meet her in the game yet, so I didn't know that she died. I'm sorry if that's... Yeah, I mean, maybe that sounds stupid. I didn't know. Maybe I should have just known. But I don't know. I try to avoid spoilers as much as possible. However, I haven't been playing Honkai Star Rail, so it's not like I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad that I know. But anyway, yeah. I'm sorry if I just spoiled it for someone else. But then again, why are you watching these trailers? Why are you watching someone else react to these trailers if you didn't want to be spoiled? What the heck is wrong with you? You just take a nap. You know what I mean? You're out of your mind. I am losing my mind. That's what's happening right now. We're going to move on to the next one. We only have a couple left. Have I skipped any? Have I skipped any? No, I believe I've seen them all so far. Okay. So there are 2 left. Here we go.
I once visited the Eon to ask them a question. What question would stump the all-knowing droid head? Yes, that's exactly what I asked. If there are no mysteries in this universe that can't be solved, how will you prove it this time? I've tackled many conundrums for pleasure, but before long, they become solutions. No matter, the good stuff is always further ahead. Solutions are boring, but they bring new questions, such as, what is my limit? Could Herta be the great genius of legend? Do you even need to ask? Look at these achievements! Solitary waves theory, spark model hypotheses, Sigma baryons conversion method, Herta sequence. So many problems to solve, so little time. Oh, and de-aging. Are you saying? I'm not done! I also discovered the imaginary leakage phenomenon and captured and sealed a Stellaron. Maybe one day we'll even see a Stellaron in a living body. And I want to meet Droid Head. I will meet them. So we need to start running. Start running with your puppet body. Huh? Puppet? Yeah, this way. Herta can run even faster. Faster? Faster, faster! Faster. Faster, faster, faster! Time and space. 2 conundrums hindering human progress. It was too easy to step over this limitation. But it's still not enough. Step out of the circle at your feet and look down from a higher world. In an extrapolation concerning the universe, I rolled a die.
Curious, blessing, reward.
Countless questions arise from here. Though what I want are not solutions, but for the die to never stop. The best answer is a question. Because my thinking never has an end. So, Droidhead, what are you thinking so hard about now? You pay no heed to the universe and refuse to answer my question. Then I can only do it myself.
Okay. So that is... Whew. That's Herta for you, right? I have a love-hate relationship with this character. I think she's an awesome character. When you meet her in the game in her puppet form, she's very, her personality rubbed me the wrong way, but in a more comedic way. Like they did a lot of interesting, funny jokes. I do like the personality and stuff, but it was always just kind of like, I don't even know how to say what I'm saying, but seeing her now like this is even, when you're walking around the station, you pick up all sorts of stuff to read, and you can read up things like on her and things that she's done and stuff, and she's done a lot. And yeah, she's one of those figures that is like, you know, like I was talking about Ruan Mei before, and how she's messing with like genetics and possibly reality and stuff, and could she become a god or a eon, whatever? Like I don't know, like that was just a guess. But we have Herta here, who is literally going up to eons in person, asking the questions, not necessarily getting the answers that she wants, and she's just kind of like, well, if need be, I'll figure it out by going above you. Like, Herta here is definitely playing God if she's talking about space and time and doing things with that, and it's just, oh man. And do I believe that she could accomplish the things that she sets herself out to actually do when actually interested in them? 100% yes, at least as far as what I know, which isn't a lot, but based on the things that I did read and things that I did see within the game, and how here we're seeing like the actual her and how she is, that's a thing. Herta is kind of nuts in a good way, question mark. Very interesting character. And also I love the witch design that she has, like the witch's hat thing. Like it's so freaking cool. Oh, look at that. A clock right next to her that's melted because time and space doesn't matter with her. She'll break it anyway to get what she wants. Anyway, let's move on. That's okay. That was cool. All right, this is the last one, I believe.
This is a story from the distant past. The era back then was named after gold. And gods still walked with mortals. Their tears and sweat fell, granting the world dusk and dawn. But times changed, and calamity fell. Yanisopolis prayed to the Holy Maiden for a prophecy. Please tell us how to return to those beautiful days of the past. But Trebios knew that the three gods were no longer able to respond. If the Titan who bears the world has already fallen in the flames of war, then who will lift the torch and drive away the long, cold night? If the Titan who guides the people has withered in the deepest dark, then who will take their authority and fulfill the promise of passage? Humans will. I will. I will step through the first crossroads and sail toward tomorrow.
Huh? I've gotten smaller, and there's more of me. Get ready. It's time for us to head out with the west wind.
Toward the proverb revealed by fate. Go and seek the children of humanity with golden blood. Like you, some will be trapped in the past. Some will bury time itself. Some will discard their humanity. Some will forfeit their life. Some will become utterly alone. Some will lose everything. Trebios, the first demigod, set out toward tomorrow until your calls break through the darkest gloom.
Oh, wow. That was a lot. That was a lot. Hold on. Just going through this. Yeah. Okay. First Dawn of Destiny. Oh, this is one of the golden epics, which I think there's a few more of these. Okay. Strange how it's all right. Anyway, yeah, so not exactly a Myriad Celestia trailer, but it's still considered one, I guess. I might have to look up the other golden epics as well then. We'll see how this turns out. But that's boy, that's some crazy lore stuff. That's some I don't even know. I don't even know what to say about that. It's just man. I don't know what to say. I'm actually lost for words right now. I don't know if it's just because I've been recording for probably over 3 hours, or I mean, I've talked a lot about the art and its style and how they did things, and I can continue showing my appreciation. Guys, it's good. Like the different texture, like, you know, character, the kind of background stuff that they're doing here. You have all the shimmering text that keeps changing. This, I mean, obviously with that intent, but this honestly felt almost like there's an origin of the world kind of thing, or not just the world, but universe even. I mean, the first Dawn of Destiny is the freaking title, and we have this character who did a thing and is now just across the universe, across the multiverse, perhaps, just protecting humans, making sure that they remain as a thing. Like, that's I have so, I mean, huh. I'm a little speechless. Yeah, I'm just gonna. Why is this guy so familiar? I don't know. Is this like a really young version of that other guy that we saw? The in the demo, he was like jacked Ether. Kratos and Ether combined. Like, this looks like a younger version of him. Man, then there's all this text that I just can't read. Yeah. Yeah, okay. crazy. Give me a moment. I'll be right back. Yes, this one first. Let's do this one. Starting now.
In the legend's beginning, the world was pure chaos. Then the gods cast down the core flames, and the titans were born within. 3 titans carved the heavens and earth. 3 wove the threads of fate. 3 molded life with their hands, and 3 guided calamity's gate. The titans' blaze enlightened civilizations, and people of all realms thrived endlessly. But the golden age was fleeting, and from beyond the sky came the heretical black tide. Its gloom was darker than death itself, driving the titans to madness and the mortals to mutual war. Strife broke out across the land, and the stain of blood consumed the light of dawn. As the gods waged war, the sun itself grew quiet in awe. A millennium of divine conflict left only a shattered world and an age of darkness. The core flames flickered and dimmed, and the age of the gods met its end. Golden blood fell to the ground as a distant prophecy resounded. Flow, golden blood, flow. Converge into a boiling river that flows to the heroic heirs of this world. Aglaya the Gold Weaver, you must gently caress the holy city's silken web and hearken to the sounds and voices of destiny. There shall be the 3-faced messenger traversing through myriad doors, bearing tidings to you from hundreds of worlds. Anaxagoras the Foolish has enough knowledge to refute faith and to stir up a torrent capable of slaying gods. Go seek the priest who severs dawn from dusk, and let the sky become the slumbering cot from which she wakes. Make him roar, Mightiness the Undying. Pierce the enemy's king with Kremnos' blood. Set her in motion, Cypher of the fleet-footed. Command the frozen time to once again flow. And that servant of the Hand Shadow, the daughter of River Styx. If you grant her the right to embrace, then even frozen death will sleep peacefully at her fingertips. You will hear the sound of the ocean's abyss reverberating through the storm. You will see outlanders from faraway realms visiting under the veil of gloom, until the journey's end, when the titans of old have all fallen, and the nameless new king ascends the throne alongside countless heroes, to embark on the grand mission of deliverance. I gaze towards the distant future, where the sun shall etch the footprints of humanity. The children of humankind, known as the Chrysos heirs, shall pluck the gods' core flames, and once more uphold the world. The flame chase is a journey of constant loss, among which even life itself holds little value. Therefore we cast even ourselves into the flame, only to inscribe the opening stroke in the poem of creation.
Wow. Oh, there's more.
Most heroes' journeys in the universe are just dice tosses they threw on a whim. Will your answer be any different, Amphorius?
Of course, this will be a romantic story like none that has come before. You think so too, right?
Huh. Wow. Okay. And this was a thing that happened 4 months ago. Were you guys in the newest part of Honkai Star Rail when this released? Was this a trailer for that whole area? Has it been 4 months since that dropped? I mean, if that's I think I'm just gonna go right into the last one and then share my thoughts as a whole about these golden epics, if I have anything that I can actually say. Here we go.
You once wished to leave behind a snowflake for her. But your hands didn't know how to draw the shape of life. Warmth lasts for but a moment, but the cold is endless. Like how your death-worshipping hometown now sleeps soundly in the blizzard of the long night. Like how the ocean, haunted by trickery, stirred up stormy waves. The sky, pierced blind by their lightning spear, spilled blood and tears. The titans who suffocated the world will also eventually enter death's embrace. You don't know why life blossoms. Only because the butterfly of the nether realm has already landed on the searching black tide on the bloodthirsty blade. On your fingertips, I am death. So, in the land of death, I dare not look at the garden of life. I fear that promises may be broken after they're made. Tears may follow after a smile. And then an eternal farewell may follow an embrace. It's better to have stayed in place and never had anything at all. Even so, death is not the end. To walk toward that distant tomorrow, we make a promise. The flame chase journey won't end with my departure.
See you! We'll meet again on the shores of the West Wind.
I gained inspiration from death, and should repay it in kind. Golden blood proves death is not be
Just treat it like a game with Dad.
Come with us. One day, just as we have testified for you, you will be able to testify for yourself. I wish I could be like all of you and embrace the world before death comes, so that the souls of the world no longer weep and the city bells never cease ringing. Even if it's just once, I want to use these hands. To give a wilted flower new life. Even if the snow eventually melts, I hope you will leave behind a snowflake for me.
Okay. All right. So it's fine. It's fine. A lot of really great imagery in these last golden epic videos. Whew, okay. The first two that I watched, they were they were definitely like, check out this world building, right? And leading to the place where I think people are currently playing at the time of this recording. And then this one is focusing on this character who I assume to be Death, based on what we've seen. And yeah, it's a thing. Okay. Wow. I also paused on this shot just now because I love this image, how she's in color, just a color, and the rest are statues that are kind of crumbling and dwindling away, and how they're all positioned differently and how they're falling apart differently and such. And it's just, oh man, it's cool. And I could be wrong, but the immediate thought that I got from watching this one in particular is that everything dies, but what about death itself? When is death ever going to have peace? When is death ever going to move on and not be alone, or whatever that is? Like that's this, as her personified as that thing. That's what I'm getting at, and how that's a very lonely existence to just be like, yep, everything I touch dies, like that feeling. And literally just knowing that these people, whether or not they're alive or not, I mean, I assume that they are right now, but this is a foreshadow into like, they won't always be. So this character is potentially dealing with the idea that I will eventually be last of my people, my friends, the people I consider family, whatever that is, and all I do is just continuously stop. I continuously stop things. I continuously destroy things, in a sense, cause things to pass on. Looking at families and having them embrace and stuff, and it's like one day it's going to be the last time they do that, and it's like, oh man, it's just, it's a lot. And at the end there, how she's talking about how at least one time she would like to do the opposite and bring something to life, kind of to experience that. And it showed our Trailblazer. I guess we kind of, maybe we die and then we don't, or maybe we're supposed to, or what, I don't know. Maybe we've died 10 times. I have no idea. Anyway, that was cool. And then now referring back to the previous one before it, yeah, I just like how it's telling. I'm just kind of digging this story. It's just very like Greek gods in the flesh, and you're interacting with them. These really important people running the show, and at least on this world. I don't know if it's throughout the universes. Like, I don't know that for sure. But at least on the world, I guess, where it takes place on, if that's how it's happening, I don't know. They're that. Except for this character that my head is blocking right now, the three girls, they seem to be across multiple worlds or more. Wow. Okay. That's pretty much it. I believe that's all I have for this video. And I say that after 3 hours or whatever it is. I don't know. Maybe it's less, maybe it's more. I'm not sure. Anyway, this was a lot. This was a lot of fun. I kind of wish I watched the Golden Epics in a separate video, just so I'd be able to actually think about them more, because there's a lot going on, and I just went through a bunch of the Myriad Celestia trailers, and doing this for as long as I did, I feel kind of cooked right now. my brain's kind of frying, and then I just watch something that's super lore heavy, and I'm like, I honestly not going to grasp it. I'm just being real with you. That's just what that is. There's no way I'm going to remember a lot of this stuff. But at least I hope you enjoyed my insight while you could get it. I only have so much room up here, guys, but we'll see what I can remember or what I don't. Regardless, it was a lot of fun to watch all of these things. It was very enjoyable. I did get more context for a lot of the characters, which some I think was really needed, others not so much, but still enjoyable anyway. And there's also animations that I'm going to have to get to as well. There's animations, there's music, there's whatever. Maybe there's other one-off trailers that I missed and stuff that I could do in other videos. I'm hoping that maybe some of the animations will answer some questions I had about some things. For example, Rappa. I know a lot of people weren't too happy with my take about her character trailer, but my point still stands as far as I'm concerned unless if she has an animation that actually shows more. And if there is, I'm looking forward to it because, oh my god, I love I love animation. You know that. I'm looking forward to getting to those, and that's probably what I will do for Honkai Star Rail related things next. But I believe the next video I work on will probably be Zenless Zone Zero related, and then my Genshin stuff is always happening. But anyway, I'm rambling again. I gotta go. I'm losing my mind. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure you leave a like, write your comments down below, and check out the description for additional ways of how to support me. If you're not subscribed already, I recommend you go and do that thing, because it would help me out. It'd be really cool. And yeah, if you're interested in supporting me in other ways, like I said, the description, and I have a Patreon and a member section. You can get exclusive content by becoming Scholar tier and up and all that stuff. I have to shill for myself. Come on, it's please. Oh man, I am losing it. All right, thank you so much, and until next time, shine on, you crazy diamonds. Later.